Okay, how you doing, everybody? Good afternoon. I'm in Oxnard, California now. Oxnard, California. In Ventura County. The city is playing with the idea of turning into a sanctuary city today. Let's see what we got here. Okay, we got some interesting news items. City's kind of run down. Individuals told me that I might not want to come because it might be dangerous. But here I am nonetheless. Nobody's going to stop me. All right, stars. Hey, how are you?
Hug your neck.
How are you? What's your name?
Deborah.
Deborah. Oh, great. Nice to meet you.
Yes.
I'm live right now. We're going to put this on full blast.
Excellent.
Let's put the city on notice here. This is the most ridiculous idea they want to pursue.
Yeah.
Total lawlessness. Love your outfit, Lady Liberty.
And what's really happening here is that we have a lot of good people who are listening to a lot of bad people.
Yeah.
A few bad people who are lying to them about what this is all about. And that is the biggest problem, because there is absolutely no reason whatsoever for us to go on the record, for Oxnard or any other council, to restate the policy that has been in operation for 20 years. There is no reason for any resolution or declaration of any sort.
This is a lot of political posturing.
It is.
Really quick, can you show me the city council?
Yes.
I'm going to look at the pictures if you want to tell me their background, their
Let me grab my
affiliation.
things.
Oh yeah, I don't want you to not have them. Okay, so here's the Oxnard City Council. Okay, so let me guess. City Council, and that's the mayor?
Yes. This is the mayor here in the middle. He's
Okay.
on vacation, quite conveniently. He's equivocated on this.
Oh, he doesn't want to take a stance, huh?
Yes, because what this is about...
Shame on him. Tell me his name really quick.
His name is Flynn.
Okay.
This is Carmen Herrera, I want to say Herrera, Carmen Ramirez, who is the president pro tem of the Senate.
So she'll be...
I mean, of the council.
So she's running the meeting tonight?
Yes, she's running the meeting tonight. She is extremely pro SB 54. She's extremely pro sanctuary, anything she can possibly
But
get.
not about citizens, right?
That's correct.
Like
It's not about
Kate,
the citizens.
I don't think Kate Steinle felt safe in San Francisco when she got shot
Kate Steinle,
in front of her own father. Do we have people who are clearly leaning towards opposing this nonsensical?
the two here on the end.
Okay,
we have
so
McDonald and we have Perillo.
Okay.
They are not yet fully committed. These two, Oscar Madrigal and Carmen, are fully committed to this.
Well, let's see. We need to shake them up. Who's this gentleman down here? Is this the city clerk? Or?
I believe so. I'm not really sure who this guy is.
Oh, brother.
Notice that they don't have the picture, the name up.
Of course not. They don't want to be called out. I got an agenda already. So
Yes.
we're waiting for others. I'm waiting for
Yes.
Mark, George Miller I'm waiting for as well.
Yep.
This is ridiculous. I mean, this is total posturing. I mean, look, they've got all these historical documents behind them, but they don't seem to have any regard. They don't seem to have any regard for the documents. And here we have all the people who are pushing this nonsensical agenda.
It's extremely important to note that the resolution that the council is considering was crafted by Cause.
Oh,
this
wow.
resolution, they worked with Cause to develop compromise language.
And who donated to their campaign, I wonder? Probably Cause, right? Did they
quite
donate
sure.
money?
I would imagine they
Okay.
did.
So you guys are the ones behind this agenda? You're the ones who are pushing this sanctuary city thing? Yes or no? Yes or no? I am having a great day because I'm confronting this. It's a privilege as a citizen to be able to do so.
Yes, if you're not illegal and you didn't break the law, then you're okay.
I have a friend of mine. It took him 10 years to become a citizen, and to have people breaking the law, jumping into this country illegally. I have friends of mine who've lost jobs because of illegal immigration.
Jobs weren't that good to begin with.
Why is that? People working is a good thing. Why is that excuse me, a man working is a wonderful
you're not
thing.
willing to do. Yeah,
Wrong.
a man working is a good thing.
Wrong.
I agree with that. What do you do for a living? Do you
I'm
pick
a journalist.
lettuce?
I'm right here.
Will you pick lettuce? Will you wash cars?
I
Will you
wash
make
my own
fast
for
food?
starters.
Will you paint houses?
I could do that. I've worked in grocery stores too.
So have
I am
I.
not beneath
So
work,
have I.
and neither is the American
Exactly.
people as a whole.
Yeah.
How
and
are you?
A lot of these people are here to do the jobs that you
What
and
do you
I
mean,
won't do.
these people? That's
Everybody
kind
in this
of
room.
offensive, don't you think?
Yeah.
Okay, this has to be okay. I'm allowed to stand here. It's a First Amendment
Yeah,
right.
and I'm allowed to stand here too.
I
and
noticed
call
how you got
out.
really triggered.
Yeah, and
Why?
I noticed the hat you're wearing kind of says a lot about draft dodgers.
Actually, it says "Make America Great Again." It doesn't say say draft dodging.
You can be a Republican and not support that guy. I'll give you that. I share some of your views.
And you can be a Democrat and support him. I know many Democrats who voted for him.
I haven't met one yet. I'm
Black,
sure they exist,
Hispanic,
like Bigfoot, but
one lady, Elsa
Aldegar,
Aldegar, but she eventually became a Republican because she saw that the Democratic Party was throwing her race, her culture, her state under the bus.
Yeah, that's what politicians do for the most part on either side. And I see what it is.
You know what? I
trying
can't
to do.
challenge that entirely. When you have an entire state legislature that just raised our gas tax by 80 cents, first with the 12-cent up, and then the cap and trade, which is outrageous.
But you want nice things, right? You want freeways, right?
Get a carbon dividend.
You know what? We can have nice freeways without high taxes. You know better than that. Do you know where most of the... No, you don't know that?
Know
if you don't even know about that, then how can you claim to be informed on this issue enough? So I really appreciate your recording me, so that's fine.
You're trying to incite people and make them mad, and you're doing a great job at it.
I don't make people mad.
You've already
How are you? You're welcome to record me. I am, and I'm welcome to record you as well. So, well, we know you're an idiot if you have to resort to name calling. You just confirmed that. Thank you. So tell me, you support the idea of turning the city of Oxnard into a sanctuary city, yes or no?
Yes.
Why do you support it?
I support it because the undocumented people that come here, they do the work that nobody else wants to do.
That's a lie.
Oh, so
I have friends and family in Texas and throughout this country. They do contracting work. They do farm work as well, so that's not true.
Okay,
Is that the only reason? Is there a moral reason why you believe that?
So tell me, you worked in the fields before?
Not me, friends and family.
Okay,
I mentioned that, and that's all I have to mention. So tell me, is that the only reason? Excuse me. Is that the reason why you support Sanctuary City? Is it only about economic issues?
I support, yes.
That's
Is
it?
that all you need?
There needs to be a moral grounding for undermining federal immigration
Do you have
law.
any idea how difficult it is to come here?
Absolutely.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
You
Talk to
did?
Nick Ioannidis. He came to this country in 1969. It took him 6 years. It took him 6 years to become a citizen. It took a long time. Yes, I am aware of it. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Here most of all is the council who
Do you see how this is a man who is full of embitterment and hate? This is what a bigot looks like.
These are the guys
Right
that are
here.
to
that
stir
they are
up trouble.
asking us to
I'm going to take a seat right here. If it's not going to change anything, then why are you here?
It's basically
Everybody, it's the finger of shame. Here we go. Do you notice how instead of responding to people, he resorts to name calling? Because that's all they have. Sanctuary cities undermine the rule of law. Sanctuary cities put legal residents at risk. Sanctuary cities undermine police.
Did I call you a name? I said, I think you're an idiot.
Okay, well,
I can think that.
you know, actually, then you're not thinking at all. It makes you a bigot. And yes, I called you that.
And I'll call
Absolutely.
you a horse's ass because you kind of are being one.
You don't know. Okay, so actually, I'm a human being, and the fact that you can't tell the difference
here's
between
the
a
thing.
horse and a
I'll
human
let you in
being,
on a secret
this
about
shows
the
you how
Sanctuary City.
uninformed this gentleman is. So, why do
let
you
you in on a
support
secret
Sanctuary
about
City?
Sanctuary City.
Why do you support it? If it's
Who
no
said I
big deal,
supported it?
why are you here?
It's a symbolic gesture.
Okay,
It
so then
doesn't
why are
change-
you here?
It doesn't. I'm not here to speak on that. I'm here on an unrelated issue. I just happen to show up for the circus that you guys are creating. And
You're
I'm
a
gonna enjoy the
circus.
sideshow.
I mean, you're looking like a sideshow
If you're
right
gonna
now.
walk in
You're the
here
one that's
and
raising
make
your
an ass out of
voice,
yourself
and you're an
start
ass. We
pointing
understand
fingers at
that.
people,
You
then
call
I'm gonna
people
do my
names.
job and I'm gonna call
We
you out.
understand that you're an ass and you call people names because you have no knowledge base to draw from. If you're here on an unrelated issue, then why do you care one way or another? And why do you have a problem with the hat that says "Make America
Because it
Great
represents
Again"?
a person that doesn't represent the best of your party. I think we can all kind of agree.
What do you
on
mean,
that
my
at this
party?
point.
I'm an American. That's the one party that matters.
Make America Great Again. That's the party of the Orange Menace.
Orange Menace. Are you talking
Yeah,
about a
the guy
drug?
with the
Are you
spray on
talking
his
about?
hand.
Okay,
Donald Trump.
notice how he goes to name calling again. You said that you don't call people
These are
names.
my
You
observations.
can't even catch up with your own
Now,
hateful rhetoric. What's your problem
back
with
to
Trump,
the
though?
Sanctuary City thing.
What's your problem with Trump?
Okay.
You're calling him an Orange
Or the
Menace, or are you
liar,
talking
the bankrupt
about?
businessman? that
How did
knows
he
to
lie?
run a country?
How did he lie?
How many lies has he told
Name
this
one.
year? All his campaign lies.
Name
the wall
one.
was going to be built. That's not.
It's already being worked on.
Healthcare was
Texas
gonna
and
be
San
repealed.
Diego. Next.
That hasn't happened. ISIS was going to be
I already talked
defeated
about the
in 30
wall.
days. That didn't happen, and we're in.
They're already on the run, buddy. He didn't say 30 days.
Oh, they're
You're not even
not.
listening. So
I
tell
can
me.
quote him. It's in his tweets.
Show me right now.
All you got to do is read his tweets and look at it. He tells it himself. Don't believe me.
Okay,
Go on Twitter.
You've called him an
It's
idiot, but
already
you
in
read
there.
his tweets. If he's an idiot, why do you read his tweets?
Well, it's interesting to see what he says because those are his official
So,
statements.
I see you got a nice microphone right there. Who are you with? Are you with KPCC, KQED? Are you with the city? Why won't you tell me?
I'm independent.
Okay, do you have a name? There's a guy named Gary Cole, and he's an independent guy, and he follows me some places. So, what's your brand? What's your name? Nice. We used to have the Pony Express, and now, well, I don't know if it's much better now with what we have with the post office. You will notice that this man is bigoted and narrow-minded. He has to resort to name-calling. He doesn't give me any facts. He claims that Trump lied, like the wall wouldn't be built. I already gave you 2 examples. I gave you 2 places where the wall is being built, in Texas and in San Diego. I answered that question. You claimed it was a lie. What else have you got?
It is a lie. It was supposed to
How
be
else did he lie?
Sir, shut your mouth.
The bankruptcy.
No, I will not. Yes, you are. Thank you.
He's attracting. So, anyway, back to the whole sanctuary.
Back to sanctuary cities.
Now, I'll sit down because my back's sore. I actually work for a living. I'm sure you do too. But the sanctuary thing.
What I'd suggest is exercise, and then you wouldn't have to have so much weight on your back.
I've done that before too, but I have an office job.
I've lost already 25 pounds, so.
Yeah, I know. When I promoted to chief officer, things went to hell.
Okay.
But anyway, I hear what you're saying.
But really quick, you're willing to talk. Did you know what she told you to go to hell? Your Lady Liberty, she told you to go. So you have a problem with liberty? Look at me, ma'am, when I'm talking to you.
I believe in hell.
Do you talk to your grandkids like that? Or tell me you don't have any. I would be glad if that were the case. They already get hostile. Do you see that?
My grandma.
Just like this person, too.
Me that.
If she was your grandma, you'd be a 5-year-old and well, very strange.
I'm a better person because my grandma did talk to me that way.
Freedom of speech, and she just was profane.
And she said, shut up, right? So there's freedom of speech for some people, but not for others.
So anyway.
Okay, and this guy, he called Trump an orange menace, but won't tell me why. And he said that he lied about the wall, but 2 sections are already being built as we speak, but he still won't respond to that.
I haven't seen a wall.
So that's really strange. This guy hasn't seen a wall.
8 bankruptcies.
Are you blind?
5 kids, 3 wives.
There's a wall being constructed along San Diego. We've got contractors who have put up examples of it. What else have you got? So what's another lie? The bankruptcies. That's not a lie. It happened. What's your problem with a bankruptcy?
Him being bankrupt and saying that he's a good businessman.
Sure. Good business owners, they sometimes have to go bust. It happens.
8 times.
Name one. Let's start with that.
Trump steaks, Trump magazines, Trump vodka, Trump
They didn't go bankrupt. They went out of business.
Nevada won't even give him a
Notice how this man can't tell the difference between a business closing and bankruptcy. Once again, who's the idiot?
It's the same thing. He doesn't want to pay his contractor, so he welches on him not to pay him.
Wrong.
I get all that. That's the American way.
That's also not true. Give an example where he welched and didn't pay his workers.
Let's see, the little Trump casinos thing, the guy that he bought pianos from didn't pay him. There's
Wrong.
a whole bunch of that stuff.
That's not true. You're making things up without evidence.
No, it's all
Give me
there.
something better.
It's all there.
Why do you call him a menace, though? People go bankrupt all the time, and I don't see you calling other people menace. So what is it?
But they're not in charge of our country. They don't, they're limited to the damage they can do to people. So
okay, so how has Trump's one bankruptcy hurt this country?
Now back to this sanctuary city thing.
So really quick, I just want you to, you have a gentleman here who is morbidly unhealthy, doesn't have a response to the facts I've presented, doesn't want to deal with truth or error, and then he keeps resorting to hatred, and he still doesn't want to answer a question. I just want you to be aware of that. Now, what about sanctuary cities? If you're able to discuss it coherently.
No, I'm not really opposed to it. I don't say I'm really for it. It's a symbolic thing. It's not going to change the way the city does business. It's not going to affect anything. It's just a city basically.
Oh, that's so incorrect.
That's really all that this
Sanctuary city would send a large signal to Washington, D.C., and it would lead to the cut in federal funding to the city.
Which is unconstitutional, taxation without representation.
Wrong. It's already on its way.
Read the Constitution. Just read the Constitution.
I have.
Actually read all of it, not the parts you like. But
okay. So
I know it's hard for you.
What part of the Constitution are you referring to?
Taxation, if you take money
taxation
from
without representation is not in the Constitution.
Taxation.
Try again.
Yeah, that's actually how it is.
That was the rallying cry that led to the Boston Tea Party. You're getting your history mixed up and you're getting your documents mixed up. What else?
I went to college too. I don't know. If
going to college doesn't guarantee that you're educated. Believe lots of people.
And wearing a hat. And
so tell me.
Oh no. I think you have another gentleman here that wishes to speak. Try it. Why not?
Well, I wanted to get an answer. You don't care about sanctuary cities, or what? Yes or no? This is what bigotry looks like. This is what the face of the left has turned into in the state of California. It resorts to trying to shame people into silence, or to bully them, or to smear them. But if you ask a few questions, they end up silenced because they can't respond to fact. Thank you.
Welcome.
Actually, you missed it. You just turned on your camera.
Oh yeah, the whole time. Okay.
No, you didn't. Your camera was in your hand.
Yeah, but I'm recording.
This man doesn't even understand how a camera's used.
Yeah, I just want to get a shot of your face.
So why are you for it or against it, and why can't you make a statement either way?
I'm neutral.
Regardless. Actually, that's not an answer.
doesn't affect me.
So Catherine Steinle's death, you don't give a shit about that either.
Oh,
or the death of Ruben Morphine,
what
or
about
the
all
death
the other
of
murders we have that are done by
Okay.
citizens? You don't care about
So
those?
what you're seeing with this gentleman here is a desperate attempt to step away from not only a controversial policy, but a destructive and illegal one, and in effect justify the deaths of American citizens. And
okay.
yeah, you are. You are absolutely a failure of it. I see it.
It's not a problem.
So you're saying that the
I didn't say anything.
yes you did. You had said that the delay on cutting the funding, federal funding to cities, is unconstitutional. Why?
The thing is, you're outnumbered. I'm gonna have fun watching you.
But I'm asking you that question. You said something that is cogent. It's based in a legal fact at this time.
Well, the
so are
fact-
you claiming that? I just want to make sure I phrase the question. You're saying that because a federal court has decided that the federal government, Washington, cannot cut federal funding to jurisdictions that are sanctuary jurisdictions, you think that should stand?
That has. I think we're talking about apples and oranges here because
Okay.
the legalities behind the injunction that was put on President Trump's
That was issued.
right. The injunction
Jeff
is, the
was
injunction
just
is in
in-
place.
Okay. It's in place at this time. Okay. Let's see.
One thing that's important to know, I think. Oh, you're done?
No. I got to put that somewhere.
Oh,
so
no,
it's
I
on
was
the
just saying
floor.
that one of the things that's important to know, and you seem to know legalities pretty well, which is good. That's great.
It's good for everybody to know,
yeah,
to
totally.
be invested in it.
Absolutely. And the important thing, I think, to know about injunctions in general, if you ask any lawyer, you ask any judge, any legal mind, injunctions are never granted very lightly. And most judges, and I'm not saying all, and I'm not saying without exception, I'm saying that a majority, if not most judges that grant injunctions, they grant an injunction because they are confident that the injunction will hold.
I'm going to disagree with that, but you're entitled to your
then
opinion.
I'd love to hear
Injunctions
examples.
get challenged many times.
No,
for
I didn't
example,
say they didn't get challenged. I never
Exactly.
said they didn't get
For
challenged. I said
example,
they
with the
hold.
travel ban.
I said a majority of them hold. I didn't say.
Doesn't matter.
I didn't say that they weren't challenged.
If there's an injunction that determines that 2 + 2 should equal 5, there may be judicial authority behind it,
Well, we're
but it
not
doesn't
talking
make
about
it
math
factual.
here. We're not talking about math.
It's a hypothetical to demonstrate that
Hypotheticals
in an
don't matter
end,
here.
yes, they do.
Not when the reality.
Especially
is that
when it
there's
comes
an
to
injunction.
legal decisions and legal theory. They
I get
absolutely
that-
do.
How you doing, man?
I get. Good to see you too, brother.
Arthur, how you doing?
I'm doing really well.
George Miller.
Awesome.
George Miller.
Thanks. This guy here is a bigot, and he thinks that this guy's a lot of fun. Wait, no, this guy's a lot of fun.
What was your name again?
What
was your name again?
Suddenly, he doesn't want to talk to me anymore. My name's Arthur, by the way, so it's good to meet you. Sorry, my hand. This is Raul. No, that's fine. I appreciate it. Now, this guy's really funny. This guy called Donald Trump the Orange Menace, but won't explain why. And then he says that he doesn't give a shit, his words, about sanctuary cities, but doesn't seem to care that Catherine Steinle was killed in a sanctuary city. It'd be different if it was one of his kids. Let's hope he doesn't have any. Okay. All right, you're with SEIU? Okay. Let me take a look. Service Employees International Union. Okay. Is every member of the union in support of Sanctuary City? It seems.
I just want to say, but thanks for wearing
But
the
they
hat
paid
because
for it.
serves as a warning for everybody.
They must have paid for this sign, so you support it?
You know what? I'm not engaging with you.
Okay.
I have the sign which expresses a sentiment that I agree
Okay.
with.
All right.
I am not engaging with you.
Well, you already are because you're talking to me right now. Do you think that it's okay to put American lives at risk? Because that's what sanctuary cities do. Kate Steinle, Ruben Morphine, Marcelo Bizzarella, all killed by illegals in sanctuary cities. Well, you already are. You're talking to me right now. You're making a bold statement. You're allowed to do that. It's the First Amendment.
Because you're this big tall man who's standing in front of me.
I'm a big, tall man. That's why you don't want to talk to me?
No, because I feel
Okay.
What was your name again?
Arthur.
Arthur.
Let me see.
Arthur, you're recording, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Well,
Recording
my
in
statement,
live. Go ahead. No, yeah.
my statement's not that polite. I was just going to ask you why it is, what happened in your life that you most likely voted for Trump. So.
What happened in my life?
Yeah.
You ask a question, I'm willing to answer. It's not what happened in my life. It's what happened to Catherine Steinle. It's what happened to Ruben Morphine. It's what happened to... So you think it's okay for American citizens to be killed by illegals? We have you on record. Okay. So I anticipated there'd be a lot of people who would show up for this, and it's a free country. They're allowed to do it. No one is illegal. So what if somebody like commits a crime like stealing or murdering somebody? Don't they end up having an illegal status? So you don't think that those crimes should be recognized?
There you go. He's got all the answers.
He's got moves, but not answers. And a bad dancer, too. Okay, here we go. It's public property, ma'am. It's a public forum. If you don't like it, then don't be here. Too bad.
The man getting ready to come in the teal shirt there is Aaron Starr, who's got a recall effort that he's working on.
Oh, yeah. I think I've heard of him.
Yeah.
Okay. Wonder why they go after these, like, social justice movements, but they don't want to do anything about budgets or anything. That's really strange, too. Okay, keeping families together. So, as a supporter of sanctuary cities, how do you feel that families are being split up? What's your fear?
Have any of your family?
I'm asking him.
Have any of your family members ever been deported?
No, they're here legally, all of them. My great-grandparents came legally. My parents came legally. No, there's no fear for it.
There isn't, right? You know what? That's an example.
Who's we?
That's an example of privilege.
Absolutely.
It's a beautiful hat.
It is. It's a gift from a friend of mine.
I'm with the.
They're all made in China.
I'm with the Ventura County Star. Can I
Oh,
give you
wonderful.
mine?
My name is Arthur Shopper. I'll give you my card. Yeah, give me a sec. I'm getting more dexterous by the day.
Do you live in Oxnard?
No, I live in Torrance, California. Heart of the South Bay. My city just officially opposed Senate Bill 54, by the way, and we're not a sanctuary city. We're actually very much opposed to such lawlessness. Even though the mayor is a hardcore Democrat,
Did you hear that this was going to be on the agenda in Oxnard?
I got a tip from a friend of mine who lives in the city. As a citizen, I am affected by every piece of lawlessness that's pushed by local or state jurisdictions. I'm a vocal opponent of illegal
Are you
immigration.
going to speak tonight?
Yes, I am. I plan to speak on 2 items, public comment in general and on this proposed sanctuary status, which is fantastical at its best. How are you doing?
Good to see you again, my friend.
Good to see you. How are you? That's fine. Question?
Oh yeah, I was wondering if y'all will be leaving at any point.
Does it matter when I come or when I go?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because this was our land before y'all came here, and then now
Tell me, what do you mean our line? What do you mean?
Our land. It's not no one's land because no one can.
Does it have your name on it? Show me.
No, it has no one's name on it. But we were
Okay, so
here,
you're speaking
and
from
by
an
we, I said, like,
ethnic
native
status?
people.
Which one? Tongva? What you're speaking from?
Native people in general.
What do you mean native?
The
Choose
Native
a group.
American people who were here.
I'm a
I'm
Native
talking about
American. I was
something
born
like
here.
I'm talking about Tomba. I'm talking about Shumash. I'm talking about yeah.
And those are the same who attacked each other and stole land from each other, correct? So where do you decide who has ownership? Where do you make that decision?
Where do you get off telling people to leave when you're the immigrants?
I didn't say leave. I was born here. How do you define immigrant? How do you define immigrant? How do you define immigrant? I was born in Torrance, in this state, in this country. That means I'm not an immigrant. I want you to notice how she immediately has him go away and refuses to let me explain. I want you to notice that. This lady also claimed we were here before you were. So, ma'am, if you're going to try and ignore me, that's not going to work because I'm still allowed to ask this. So tell me, ma'am, are you 500 years old? Are you 600 years old that you claim you were here before me?
It's the third degree, bro. You're just here to
It's not the third.
people.
I'm darker than many Hispanics, by the way, so please don't play that crap with me.
Hispanics.
That's
We're
very
Hispanics. We're
offensive.
talking about Spain.
Why are
We're
you
talking
being
about, like,
racist?
racism.
You're making this about
No,
color.
there's no
I'm making this
racism.
about culture.
Racism about power.
You just exposed your
White
hatred. I
supremacists
got
have
you.
all the
Thanks.
power.
Busted. Man, that's the third person I've taken down today. I'm like... I wonder what the city of Oxnard is trying to distract the voters from. Okay, so we're waiting for the city council to come into session. They don't have, looks like they have a quorum. I wonder what issues the city of Oxnard is covering up because they don't want to deal with them. They'd rather play SJW.
Chambers, we ask that everybody take a seat. There are plenty of open seats. We ask that you not block the exit.
Okay, are we okay, Fire Marshal? This woman says she's like been here before anyone else was, and she still won't explain why. It never ends. We have homeless veterans. I saw so many homeless today. I saw so many homeless in Oxnard already. What about their needs? Help our veterans. I wonder how many of those homeless are veterans. They need to do their job. Help our veterans. Absolutely. Mr. Correa doesn't want to help him. I wonder if Miss Brownlee does. Okay. A biblical injunction to allow illegal immigration. Okay, I was a stranger and you welcomed me. Okay. I appreciate it when people bring up the moral background for their views, even if I don't agree with how they're structuring them. I don't agree with that. Okay, let me see those SEIU posters. Labor unions paid for these. Everybody should know that. And the strange thing about that, though, is that labor unions undermine the very workers they claim. I love it. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
The man who just came in, tall, standing there, he's the Oxnard police chief.
You want to show? Let me introduce me. Hi, Raul. Did you understand what I said to you? An injunction is not forever. Did you understand that? Yes or no?
I don't think you understand me.
Yes, I know you.
You voted for Bernie. She's a Berniac.
This is Arthur
Shopper.
May I point out this gentleman? He is a person who was harassed.
Oh, brother, harass. Hey, Lady Liberty, I harass people by asking questions. Isn't that crazy? It's called the First Amendment, ma'am. Bernie Sanders supports it, but you don't. She's a Berniac and seems to have a problem with the First Amendment. Let me see those union posters, please. Show them to me. How the labor unions paid you to be here. And labor unions are undermining their very workforce, even claiming to represent workers. More illegal immigration means lower wages. Cesar Chavez, a big-time labor organizer, opposed illegal immigration. He called ICE routinely. Okay. Where's the vote no, lady? Thank you. You know, it's not about numbers, it's about truth. That tends to win out.
Can you do your best not to agitate people?
Now, you're talking to me. Am I the only one you're talking to?
I've talked to other people. I've
Good.
also allowed them to know that you have First Amendment right to
Thank
speak.
you.
I'm just asking you just not do it in an agitated
JUMDEF
way.
and
Yep.
badge number 5299.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Thank
You
you
have
so
every
much.
right to ensure safety.
Thank you so much.
I had individuals attacking me verbally, however, so you're keeping an eye on that, I hope.
On everyone.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got a couple. Well, these are very polite, even though we don't agree. That's fine. So everybody needs to know that labor unions are behind this. And who's paying for that? Workers. And the same workers are negatively impacted by illegal immigration. Illegal immigration hurts American workers. It drives down their wages. It actually undermines unions. The irony is stifling. So there we go. Casey Whalen, thank you, Arthur. Stay safe. I am in Oxnard. I don't think that I'm going to. Okay, perfect.
Everybody take your seat if you can.
Okay.
Find a seat.
So I'll be fine. I've got a front seat. I've got a lovely hat. I should be okay.
Toothpaste.
I asked him how families get separated, but he didn't give me an answer either.
Everyone, I'd like you to take your seat. Toothpaste.
Buenas noches. Si fueran tan amables de tomar asiento y no bloquear los pasillos.
So
para
notice
que
they're
pueda
reserved,
comenzar
but they're
la
still sitting there.
sesión.
Okay.
Gracias.
Thank you. Chief Bates, I know you already made an announcement. Could you do it again, please?
Okay.
Yes, once again, we welcome you to council. We're going to ask that you take a seat. There are plenty of seats here. If we don't have any seats left,
This
you're more
woman
than
says
welcome
she was
to
here
walk against
before
the
I
walls,
was.
but we
Is she
do
like
not want to
500
block
years
the
old or
access,
something? I
please.
don't know. Notice how she's blocking me. I don't. You're not keeping families together. I wonder. Let's say, will this lady tell me why she claims that she's been here before me? She was born before me. Notice how she won't talk to me. Interesting.
All right, we're going to get started in a minute. But first of all, welcome everyone. I'm going to ask our city attorney,
Chief of
Mr.
Police, right?
Bishop, if he has
Thank you for
anything to
your service.
report out from
Sorry.
our closed session.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. There are no reports out of closed session this evening.
Thank you very much. Let's do the roll call, Madam Clerk. Oh, I'll wait till you get back to your seat. Thank you.
Hey, Mark, how you doing? Too bad you couldn't be here.
Councilmember Hill. Here. Councilmember Mondragon.
Here.
Councilmember Perla. Mayor Pro Tem Ramirez.
Here.
And the agenda was posted on Thursday, July the 20th at City Hall with an amendment posted on Friday, July the 21st.
Thank you very much. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'm going to ask our city clerk to lead us in. Thank you.
Oh, that's too bad. We usually have students do it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For all.
No invocation? Invocation? Okay, we have a silent one.
Thank you. Would all members be seated
Thank you.
except for City Council? We do have a ceremonial item, and I'm going to call up Marcia Cordes and Mr. Martinez. Ms. Herrera, you're going to be doing this. Ms. Cordes, not you?
Yes.
All right. Yes, I am. Thank you. We're going to have a presentation by our Oxnard Ocotlan Sister City Committee.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
There seems to be an Aztec tinge to it. Sister City. I know.
Thank you, Mrs. Herrera, for being here. Priscilla? Mr. Martinez? Here we go.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and City Council members, City staff, and Oxnard community. On behalf of Marcia Cordes, President of our Oxnard Sister City, and our members, I would like to invite you to several of our events this week. And I would also like to introduce our board member and past City Clerk, Daniel Martinez. Our visitors from Ocotlan, Jalisco, Mexico will be arriving tomorrow afternoon, and this will mark our 53rd visitation. I don't know any other organization, maybe you do, but I don't, that has been in existence for 53 years. Thank you. Thank you. I am inviting you, our board is inviting you to the welcoming ceremony, which will be held at Plaza Park on Thursday, July 27th at 10 a.m. You are all welcome to that. And please come, and that way you could
We're already seeing the ground laid to allow for illegal immigration.
our visitors, our sister city visitors from Ocotlan, Mexico. Our next event is this Friday night. It's called Casino Night Gala, which will be held Friday, July 28th, starting at 5:30 at the Mandalay Beach Hotel here in Oxnard. If you are interested in attending, please give me a call at 805-443-1419. Our other event that we would like for you to attend is on Saturday. We are taking a train trip to Santa Barbara. We're going to be there all day. We're going to do the land shark, and I don't know if any of you know what that is. No.
Land shark. Sand shark.
The land shark is a
Something in Beetlejuice.
It'll give you a tour of Santa Barbara, and then it'll go into the harbor.
My Aunt Cheryl used to live
It's
here.
called a land shark. And we go to Santa Barbara by train. It's an all-day event. Our final event will be a tour of the Titanic exhibit the Ronald Reagan Library.
Oh, yeah, Ronald Reagan.
We think that's going to be a really exceptional and exciting tour and event. You are all welcome. Again, please give me a call. We do need to have a reservation for that.
There it is,
Again,
folks. Look at all those union flags.
805-443-1419.
Get a lot of people here.
And I understand this is an excellent exhibit. And again, thank you for the opportunity to speak about this visit. If there are any questions, I guess I could answer them. Or Daniel? Oh no, you can't do that. Okay. Okay, well you have my phone number.
I just want to thank the city for all the cooperation they're giving to put on this event, especially the Plaza Park. Again, everyone's invited at 10 o'clock from 10 to 11. And I do want to recognize our former Mayor Lopez, who is actually one of the founding members of the Sister City Group.
They did say the Pledge of Allegiance, everyone.
Thank you very much. We look forward to this event and all the coming events that you're going to have, and what a great symbol of our city, the Sister City Group. I really thank you for all your hard work. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to go into public comment now. I'm going to find out how many speakers we have on our first item. And that,
okay, didn't want to show me.
Report of the 2016 Community Relations Commission report. So I'm going to ask Mr. Nava, are you going to introduce this? Okay. Yes? What? And then we'll have public comment.
Yeah, Mayor. Elevated to Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem.
Roger Gall is right over there.
Would you do that for us? Thank you.
So the item before you today is a annual report from the Community Relations Commission, which is a commission of the City Council. What you have before you today is a report out for the year 2016. And then you have an amendment to the bylaws, which has already been approved by the commission, and staff help provide those bylaw changes so they're ready for you to also adopt. And then finally, what will be brought before you are the two resolutions dealing with either the concept of a safe city or a sanctuary city, which can be then taken up for discussion and potential actions by the council. So the first item of business would be the introduction of the Community Relations Commission, and I believe Ms. Lopez, the chairperson of the commission, will be doing that, and then she will proceed with the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Nava. Ms. Lopez, please come forward, and thank you, and I thank all your committee for being here, and of course I thank former Mayor Lopez for being here too. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, Honorable Mayor Pro Tem, and City Council members for having the Community Relations Commission today, reporting on our annual report of 2016. I'm Tiffany Lopez, the chair of the Community Relations Commission, and I have all of our commissioners, all 7 of us here today, so it's wonderful. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Please do, please.
Jaime Moreno.
The Vice Chair.
Mario Quintana. George Sorkin.
They're doing the report.
Stallion.
Adam Lopez.
This is the
Thank you for
commission
being
that
here.
worked with
Go
cause
ahead.
to come up with acceptable compromise writing for the council to accept.
Wow. Pretty corrupt.
Question, Mayor Pro Tem.
Does it matter? Wait a minute, you said you've been here. Be quiet.
We are going to have that after this.
No, it's not.
No, you're right.
We're out of order.
We're out of order, but I'm going to take this first, and then we'll do public comment.
May I request also then that we take the fiscal The item at the last of the agenda, I believe it's the report of the financial status of the city at a much earlier time. We have two
Sure.
hardworking individuals in the
I
city.
think that's a great idea. So
Thank
we're gonna go ahead and get this item over and dealt with, and then we'll go on to the regular public comment and items not on the agenda. Forgive me.
Okay. The mission of our Community Relations Commission were 7 members appointed to identify and advise the City Council on problems of discrimination in the community and to promote better human relations
Don't touch me.
among all
Sit down.
citizens.
Are you a vet?
The commissioners analyze, define, and investigate community relation issues and needs of the city and advise City Council
I just
on
wanted to
matters
thank you for
involving
supporting
group
veterans.
prejudices,
What branch did you serve in?
racial tension,
Marine Corps,
intolerance, or
Navy, Army, Air
differences
Force?
in
This
treatment
guy's out of
or
order.
favoritism of
This guy's out of
persons.
order. He's talking during the proceeding.
We're having a little bit too much
Like you've been?
promotion in the chambers. We need to all be respectful. So can I
I'm
ask
right here.
the people that are
Thank you.
making noise to please don't do that. Thank you. Sorry, Ms. Lopez.
Thank you so much. We have presentations each month. Each month, guest speakers are invited and provide
Thank you for your
presentations
service.
on community-related issues. In 2016, some of our guests included Michael Yanako, Office of Independent Review, Ramon Pilal, United Farm Workers, and Jaime Mata, Center for Employment Training. We have commission business. During 2016, we received written report from the Fair Housing Officer. We have our annual multicultural festival. We planned the Community Awards program, which was on hiatus, so we plan on bringing it back, which we will have this year. And we propose changes to commission bylaws. On our commission, we have subcommittees, and the assigned subcommittees report monthly at all commission meetings. And in 2016, the Fair Housing Subcommittee investigated substandard housing. Our subcommittees include youth, public safety, fair housing, the multicultural festival, and bylaws. We promote and we are involved in numerous events throughout the community. We wanted to highlight a couple. We have our annual Dia del Niño Kids Day held every April at Cesar Chavez School in La Colonia neighborhood. That's one of our newer events that we're part of in partnership with, but it's a really wonderful event. I've been, I think, the past 4 years. And last year there was approximately 1,200 attendees, including parents and children. And the event provided free lunches to all attendees and volunteers. And there was lots of interactive activity for the kids, music, dancing. There was booths from different community-based organizations. It was really engaging and fun. And this event is put on by various groups in the community, which was the Cesar Chavez PTA, the Cesar Chavez School, the Oxnard Police Department, Green Valley CDI-CDC, Child Development Incorporated, Mercy Housing, Knights of Columbus, Oxnard Youth Premier Soccer League, La Colonia Storefront, Colonia Village Tenant Association, and the CRC, Community Relations Commission. And we are really grateful for our Vice Chair Moreno, who brought in volunteers from his high school to help, and also city staff, Luis Goreca, and Elvira Zavala from the Oxnard Police Department. Some more pictures. And next up, we have our annual Multicultural Festival held every first Saturday in October in downtown Oxnard, which is in Plaza Park. We have held it at Oxnard colleges and some other venues. The collection was one of them as well, but we decided we were bringing it back to downtown. And we had it last year at downtown. We had the Tango drummers. We had a ceremony where the kids showed different flags. We have our very popular international passports with international booths that the kids are able to go to. We have food trucks. We have tons of entertainment, live entertainment. It's just an overall great day for the community. It's a free event for the community, and we just encourage everyone to come every year. We thank the city for their support on that event. With that event. Our future goals and events, we have coming up I'll actually go to number 2, that's prior. We have our Community Recognition Awards that's actually happening now. We were on hiatus and we're bringing it back. We feel like it's a crucial program. We are accepting nominations. We have it on our website. The city's posted on social media. We are under our commission, and the city website under our commission. You can go in and submit a nomination. We have youth, adults, we have community-based organization, and I believe business. So there's different categories, and you can nominate anyone you'd like, or an community-based organization, or a neighborhood area that you'd like to nominate. We are definitely accepting nominations up until the beginning of September, and we're going to be giving that recognition at the City Council meeting, as well as our upcoming Multicultural Festival, which will be happening in October 7th at downtown Oxnard Plaza Park. New this year, we are going to be having a peace parade in conjunction with Citizens for a Better. Oxnard Manuel Herrera came to our commission and asked to partner with us in partnership with the Oxnard Police Department. We thought it was a wonderful idea, and we definitely want to have it this year. So there will be a peace parade happening in the morning and then coming to Plaza Park. We have tons of great things happening again, like the international booths. We're going to have some wonderful entertainment, food trucks, just a fun day full of community coming together and families. It's just a wonderful free event. And we are currently looking for sponsors. We appreciate the city helping us and funding this event. We are trying to get additional funds. We've been talking to Assistant City Manager Jesus Nava on that to have a formal request.
Indigenous group agitators.
And we have a committee. We're very grateful to Martha Guillen, who's been our festival director for many years, and she's done a great job leading the committee. And Luis Coreca, of course, and all the city staff have done a really wonderful job doing the marketing, our Save the Date flyer. We're all over social media. We had 2 wonderful interns at the city that are doing a video stream on the festival, so that's coming out. They're going to have a weekly theme, so that'll be going on Facebook. We've created our own Facebook page for the event, so we're just looking to get the word out as much as possible for our event. This year's title for the event is Stronger Together in Unity for Peace.
Yes.
So that's going to be our title and our theme. So we're really looking forward to that, and we invite everyone out to the community on October 7th. And lastly, we really wanted to focus on building community partnerships. We're really grateful to Jack Villa from INCO, who comes to most of our meetings and talks and engages with us. They're going to be having a State of the City in September, which we will participate in. We participated in the Christian Stallion that we were just at, Juneteenth celebration. So we were there. We love to, if anyone in the community has any events and would like to invite us to have a booth, we would love to participate. We hope to work with other commissions in the city and with the city staff and city council to better our city and to just be involved and be engaged in our community. So we're trying to enhance our community partnerships and visibility within the community. Just to wrap up, the goal of the Community Relations Commission is to make Oxnard a better place to live and work in harmony, and celebrate our cultural diversity and share common humanity.
It's about erosion of borders and erosion of national sovereignty.
Thank you very much, and thank you all for your terrific work for our community. I appreciate that. And we have a couple of other items concerning the Community Relations Commission. Do you want to address those?
Sure. Do you want us to go on to the next topic?
Yes, unless council has any questions for the report. All right, let's do that. Thank you.
So we're going to go on to the next one, which is for the amendment to our bylaws. I was not on the CRC when this was voted on, so I'm going to defer to my colleague George Sorkin. If you have any questions on that, it is, let me see where, okay, so it's the City of Oxnard approving amending the Community Relations Commission bylaws regarding the procedure for motions from the floor for future agenda items. George, do you want to speak on that? I was not on the commission.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Sorkin.
In the past years, we've had a lot of diversity in our commission, where we have.
Why do you think there's such an obsession with diversity? What's the point of it? What do you think? Comment below.
And the different people that we might like to have as speakers. And as most bodies, generally the chairperson.
Keep sharing this. This is what happens in cities that want to placate and virtue signal.
We would like to give everybody a chance to participate in the development of the agenda, and so we've made this change to our bylaws where we would take recommendations from the floor or from the fellow commissioners to see if anyone has a very strong desire to have a specific item on the agenda, and therefore we've made the change to our bylaws where not only would the chair be able to make agenda items, but there would also be agenda items brought forward by the general.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, the general board.
I wish they did that in Torrance.
And that is something that has to be passed by City Council. Am I correct, Mr. Fisher? And now it's before us. Is that something we can vote on today?
Yes, it is on the agenda for your consideration and approval.
Okay.
It's not hard to stand up to sanctuary cities. Make sure to file complaints with the Attorney General's office.
I don't think the speaker, any of the people wanted to speak, were speaking about the bylaws. If you are, raise your hand. I don't think I heard and saw any of that. So, Councilman Perrella.
Yes, thank you very much. City Attorney Fisher, has the City Attorney's Office reviewed the bylaw changes, and does it meet with the approval of the City Attorney? As other entities, one specifically, the Interneighborhood Council Organization, had a tumultuous event trying to change very minor bylaws. So I just want to make sure this is on the same footing.
Yes, we reviewed that at the time. I believe I was at the meeting with the commission when we finalized the language, and we worked on it at the Community Relations Commission meeting some time ago. It's taken a while to get to you. And really this is a change to, I believe it was 2 provisions within Article 4 concerning how the future items on the agenda are put forward for consideration. So instead of it just being the chair, it's the membership as a whole.
And with that, I know the City Council, the management expects a consensus or more than one council member asking to get something on the agenda, because it is not the ability of one council member to get something on the agenda. Can you please get a little more detail how this is going to work? There's 7 strong-willed, able-bodied, passionate people there. If there are 7 people that want items differently on the agenda, do they have to get a backup from one other member? Or each individual with this change is guaranteed their item will get on the agenda, and then the fight will be when will be on the agenda?
Well, this is the method that was decided upon by the commission, so perhaps Mr. Sorkin can explain what the feelings of the commissioners were in wanting to go.
Wrap it up. Blah, 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 blah.
Thank you. This came out, we voted on this actually almost 2 years ago. This came out in 2014, a very difficult
There's
year.
another
Where we were trying to get items on the agenda that were pertinent to the community at the time, and to a certain extent we were stonewalled. And so we didn't have a method to truly get to the point of addressing any issues, especially divisive issues, to our commission. So that's where it came out of. And we had decided that if an item or a speaker or someone that we wanted to invite to present
this
was
commission
brought up,
sounds
we
like it
would
was
vote
hastily
whatever
thrown
was
together.
appropriate, but we needed to amend the bylaws, and that's why we did this act. Like I said, it's taken 2 years, and it's been 2 years since we've even given this report. So to a certain extent, this has been a long time coming. We dealt with some very difficult issues, and I think that's our job. To a certain extent, we have to address the issues, especially the ones that are difficult, because people need to have a voice, especially for community relations, because at the end of the day, if nobody deals with it, we can never address the issue and move on and really understand one another. So if we're enhancing community relations, we're discussing difficult topics, just like we're going to discuss tonight. And we're addressing it, and we're really becoming a community when we do so.
Thank you. May I ask a follow-up with that?
Yes.
Now, what I understood, I believe what I understood, Mr. Quintana, and I've dealt with it in the past, a very sharp speaker, and I appreciate you being on this board. Excuse me. An item, a member will bring up an item, and then the body will vote to put it on the agenda. That is different than a member wanting something on the agenda and getting on the agenda. So there has to be the approval of the majority of the board to put it on the agenda.
Yeah. I believe it came out of, to the point this year we worked on the agenda and there's been no issue.
Everybody start calling ICE.
Items on the agenda.
Make sure to print the number and where to file tips online.
Or couldn't get an action or couldn't get a presentation, then we decided to go down this path.
And the city attorney, you agree? That's how you understand it also?
Yes, and certainly if they have difficulty when they're implementing this and want to revise further or seek further revision from council, then we can check in on that and see how it's working.
Thank you very much for the response. That's my question.
So we have a motion by Councilman McDonald and a second by Councilman Madrigal. Madam Clerk?
Mayor Pro Tem Ramirez?
Aye.
Councilman McDonald?
Yes.
Councilmember Madrigal?
Aye.
Councilmember Pro?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimous.
Thank you very much. So we'll go on to the next item, which is consider adoption of one of the following two proposed resolutions. Resolution of the City Council for the City of Oxnard reaffirming the public safety functions of the Oxnard Police Department and the importance of immigrants to the city, or a resolution of the City Council of the City of Oxnard deeming the City of Oxnard a sanctuary city. So who would like to speak on that from the Commission?
I will.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez.
Okay. I'm just going to start with an introduction of how this all came about. In April of this year, we, the Community Relations Commission, were tasked with researching and investigating the sanctuary safe city topic in Oxnard per the request of Mayor Flynn. Over the course of 3 months, we reviewed the term of sanctuary city as defined to us by city staff, conducted our own personal research, invited groups and individuals to come and speak on the topic, pro or con, and we were advised by the city attorney of possible financial effects, if any, on the city. And we held lengthy discussion on the topic during our meetings. Many of us met with groups and residents separately to hear any concerns. We greatly appreciate the time and effort of city staff, namely Luis Goreca and Assistant City Manager Jesus Nava, along with Assistant City Attorney Sherry Klima and Police Chief Scott Whitney, to assist us with this important issue. We wholeheartedly support the police department and do faithfully believe that our public safety department does not and has not ever enforced federal immigration law. We are thankful to Chief Whitney for his resolution on the importance of immigrants to our city and 100% support it. After hearing from numerous community-based organizations and residents who strongly supported a safe city, sanctuary city title, and after careful deliberation, we decided to support the title to stand in solidarity with Oxnard residents. With a population over 70% Hispanic, we believe every family deserves to feel safe and supported by its leaders. We voted to approve a resolution of the Community Relations Commission of the City of Oxnard deeming Oxnard a sanctuary city, for which we are respectfully asking the City Council to consider and approve. We understand that this is an important topic. And I know that it was mentioned in the paper and a little bit confusing that we did decide to title it Sanctuary City for a resolution. All of 7 of us, of our commissioners, did believe in having a resolution. The question was just whether sanctuary versus safe. And as a whole, we voted Sanctuary City to be our title. I know that I spoke to some of the groups, and I know that in an effort to get it passed, I would support it being called Safe City. We support anything that you guys decide. We know that this is solely a recommendation to the City Council. I wanted to just make that point. And we have heard the concerns of Mayor Flynn. While we greatly respect him, we respectfully disagree that we divided our community by passing our resolution. Instead, we wish to unite our community by supporting a positive quality of life for all residents. We support building relationships and creating opportunities within the community for safe and vibrant neighborhoods. We wish to continue Oxnard being the city that cares. So we are respectively submitting a resolution deeming Oxnard as a sanctuary city. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. I'm going to ask, we do not allow applause except on very rare ceremonial occasions. So thank you for what you can all raise your hands, do jazz hands when you want to support something. Thank you. But that we don't do that here. So thank you very much. Thanks very much. Appreciate that.
Do you have any questions?
Yes, I'm going to cede the floor to Councilman McDonald.
Thank you. I asked to offer some input here, and I'll give a little background. Many months ago, I was approached by a group cause who came in with an idea of a resolution, and they weren't sure. I think they used the term sanctuary, and we had a long discussion. I talked with them for quite a bit of time, and personally, I just have a little bit of trouble with the term sanctuary because I think in the minds of a lot of people that don't read the body of the report think that we're going to protect anybody and everybody here, and that was not what the Community Relations Commission recommended, nor is that what a lot of people want to do. And on a personal level, my grandmother came here from Mexico, and she became a citizen after she got here. My father-in-law came here from Cuba.
Awesome.
He became a citizen after he got here. I don't have an issue with anybody wanting to come to this country and be a resident here and work here. I just would hope that they would follow the steps and procedures to become a lawful citizen or a documented citizen.
Jazz hands, jazz hands, jazz hands.
And so we talked back and forth. I talked with the chief. He had some reservations about some of the issues. I talked with cause. We talked back and forth. And then when this item came up on this agenda over the weekend, I spent a lot of time. I reached out to a gentleman by the name of Raul Lopez from cause. I also reached out to the chief and said, we're going to be talking about this on Tuesday. Can I get some input from you, from both of you? And they're very gracious. They met with me. They dealt with my emails. We talked over the weekend. We talked yesterday. We communicated as late as this morning, trying to find something that would be a good middle ground that would, in my mind, protect the interests of the city, the desires of the Community Relations Commission, and yet be something that we can probably get a little bit of consensus on or agreement on that both sides could support. And I think we arrived at something that Chief Whitney would be able to support, Mr. Lopez would be able to support, and from there I emailed it to the city attorney asking, is this substantially close enough? Because what I did is I took the CRC resolution, I wanted to try and capture the elements that CRC put in there, capture elements from Chief Whitney's concern and capture elements from Mr. Lopez's concerns to get something that would be workable for all of us. So the first question is, can I bring this up tonight as an alternate suggestion, an alternate resolution? And my understanding from the city attorney's office is that it's substantially close enough to one of the original resolutions in there that this would probably work. Is that correct?
That's correct. Council frequently takes what is proposed by staff on an agenda item and offers amendments to it before
Share this,
adoption,
everybody.
as long as it is
whether by few or by many,
close enough
the
to the
truth can
topic
prevail.
that has been agendized for this meeting, you can take action on this. And this is certainly within this subject heading that's listed on the agenda for this item.
Okay. And Mr. Fisher, I understand your office has done a comparison. I'm wondering if perhaps, I don't know if Ms. Queen would do it or you would do it, or to show the audience exactly what we're talking about. Because this all happened on very short order, very quick time, and I asked for copies to be
Interesting.
brought.
Why did it
I
happen so quickly?
We can go through it so my peers can see it, because I haven't had an opportunity to talk to all my peers about this, because it's a Brown Act issue.
So what we did
That's
was
right.
we took what you had given us and did a compare, merge and compare with the Community Relations Commission's original resolution, and this is the red line that resulted, and Ms. Klima can talk about what the differences are.
Can we just, maybe members of the commission, if you'd like to take a seat, get comfortable. We'll call you back up for response. Ms. Klima, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem,
Later.
City Council. As
Councilmember McDonald said he emailed his amendments to the CRC resolution, and this is a red line basically showing
for doing this. I support
what remained from the CRC resolution and what he changed in the recitals, which is all the lines that start with whereas. He's added some, I think, critical comments. For example, in the first one, the federal government, through Immigration and Customs Enforcement of the Department of Homeland Security, has the power to enforce immigration law and initiate deportation for those without lawful status, so forth. He's removed one of the recitals and then added another one. If we can scroll down a little, please.
So, Ms. Kleeman, the red remains unless it's lined through?
That's right. The red is the new language, the black is the preserved language, and the red that's crossed out is the CRC's language that's been moved.
And if I could point out, some of this that's been added, especially on that first recital, is actually moved up from one of the middle recitals that is shown in strike through there, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6th recital down, the federal government.
This stuff is getting backpedaled very quickly. Nobody wants to endanger federal funding in the city of Oxnard. That's no question about it. That's why you see all this gobbledygook.
So I don't know if you'd like me to go through each of the recitals, but
let's do that just for clarity.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
This is what the Community Commission changed from the original one that was presented by the police department, and now this is what has been changed again by the council member. Suggested.
That's correct.
So do we need to look at the original, then the second iteration, and then the third iteration?
You have the original. You should have the original in your packets, which
Correct,
is.
but I learned from a very wise attorney, Ms. Deidre Frank, serves on the Planning Commission. Making decisions at the last minute usually end up in regrets.
Yep.
If we're going to do something as significant as this on the last minute, I'm having some reservations, and I'm, contrary to what people may think. I mean, do we need to table this? In your opinion, as an attorney representing our city, do you suggest us making a decision tonight?
Table it.
Or do you suggest us having an opportunity to review my honored council members' recommendations?
Well, council member, that's not a legal determination.
I'm asking your opinion.
Right, and I don't have a legal opinion on the matter. You can take the matter, or you can decide to table it at the council's pleasure.
Thank you.
Table it.
So I think critically, if we can go up a little.
Point of information, though.
Yes.
There's
there's two resolutions. There was one originated by Chief Whitney, which is reaffirming the importance of immigrants to our community, which you have a copy of. And then there's our proposed resolution, which is deeming the city of Oxnard a sanctuary city. And I believe this is a new resolution, correct?
Actually, what I did is I copied your resolution out of the PDF and put it into the Word document. So what this started out as a resolution that you submitted from the CRC. Yeah.
Okay. Mr. McDonald cares about legal immigration, and his parents came from different families, different countries.
My intent was to keep the spirit of what CRC provided us intact as much as possible at all, because I value your input. I just wordsmithed it a little bit.
Good.
Thank you. Please proceed.
So I think at the top, starting at the very beginning, with respect to the title, Councilmember McDonald made some changes that are sort of just wording changes, such as Oxnard City Council instead of City Council of the City of Oxnard, and then changed the word sanctuary within city to safe city.
Right.
And then going down the recitals, the first recital has been changed to say, whereas the federal government through ICE of the Department of Homeland Security has the power to enforce immigration law and initiate deportation for those without lawful status, on that basis alone, even if they have parents, siblings, a spouse, or children that are permanent residents or citizens. Critically, I think he removed do not need to have committed a crime to be deported, as they're here without status and can be removed. But Councilmember McDonald, if you'd agree, it's significantly similar to what it was originally, that recital. The second recital, it seems he's removed. It said, whereas a single transgression can mean a lifetime separation from home and family, and so families live in fear of exile daily. That's been struck out.
Bad. Come in legally.
And a new resolution has been placed in there, whereas the city of Oxnard and its employees recognize the tremendous negative impact that deportation can have upon a family's well-being, including long-term separation, disruption of the family structure, the loss of financial support or stability, and the loss of supervision and guidance of other family members.
Legal immigrants only.
He's kept the recital that says, whereas the city of Oxnard devotes resources to law enforcement for the purpose of ensuring the safety of all persons who reside in or visit our community. Then he's changed, whereas there's a clear line between the duties and obligations, both moral and legal, of local law enforcement and immigration enforcement. He's changed that to, whereas the Oxnard Police Department and its employees do not enforce federal immigration law. And in doing that has also removed, whereas the federal government through ICE has the power to enforce immigration law. I think that's essentially been moved up to the first recital. Going down the next three recitals, I think just the summary of the term OPD, which was the shortcut for Oxnard Police Department, I think he's replaced with actually saying Oxnard Police Department and its employees. Those are the next three recitals. So one says, whereas the Oxnard Police Department and its employees do not have the training or expertise to enforce federal immigration law, whereas the Oxnard Police Department and its employees are committed to valuing the public's trust, practicing fair and impartial policing, and enhancing its community partnerships, whereas the Oxnard Police Department and its employees recognize that every contact with members of the community is an opportunity to invest in its community partnerships and public trust.
Thanks
and if
everyone
I'm not
for sharing it.
mistaken,
Keep sharing
Chief Whitney, these are more or less, these came directly from your resolution and then were preserved by the CRC. Then Councilmember McDonald has kept the next resolution that says, whereas communities that are the hardest hit by crime often have vulnerable populations that are distrustful of the police. That again originated with Chief Whitney's resolution. And then the last one on this page, whereas in some communities in this nation, even long-standing contributing members
but not for
of the
illegals.
community who do not have lawful immigration status are afraid to have contact with the public safety authorities for fear of deportation, even though they have committed no crime. That was changed from, whereas victims of crime think twice before reporting because they fear the police coming to their house to investigate a criminal matter might encounter a relative, housemate, or neighbor. And then he's added that back in where it says, whereas crime victims and witnesses to crimes are afraid to have contact with the public safety authorities for fear of deportation, only serves to allow crime to flourish, albeit outside the public's view.
So's Downey.
He's kept the resolution that says, whereas it is essential to public safety that every person who is a victim of or a witness to a crime is not afraid to report that crime or aid in the investigation of such, regardless of his or her immigration status, which was again written by Chief Whitney and then preserved by the CRC. And then whereas any perception that the Oxnard Police Department and its employees are involved in the enforcement of immigration law would undermine police-community relationships and impair the ability of the police to keep the community safe. That's also a statement from the police chief. Then it continues, now therefore the Oxnard City Council finds, and then the 5 findings are essentially as they were. Would you like me to go through those, please?
Why don't we do that for people listening?
Sure. The first finding of the council is that more than 1/3 of our community is foreign-born persons. Approximately 75% of the city's population is of Latino heritage, and immigrants are vitally important to our families, schools, businesses, industry, agriculture, restaurants, healthcare, childcare, elder care, and more. That a safe community needs an effective police department, and the Oxnard Police Department can only be as effective as the level of trust it has with the residents it is sworn to protect.
That's not true.
That a safe community requires citizen involvement and residents that are willing to cooperate with the police.
Citizen involvement, yes.
That the Oxnard Police Department's involvement in immigration enforcement will harm community policing efforts because immigrant residents who are victims of or witnesses to crime are less likely to report crime or cooperate with law enforcement when any contact with law enforcement could result in deportation. And finally, that communication and cooperation between the Oxnard Police Department and the Department of Homeland Security is appropriate and necessary in the furtherance of legitimate law enforcement purposes, such as in conducting criminal investigations. This includes, but is not limited to, investigations involving serious and violent crimes, transnational gangs, organized crime, human trafficking, and other crimes that cross jurisdictions. And it's important to note that these 5, again, were drafted by Chief Whitney, and then the CRC agreed with this language almost entirely, other than the changing of OPD to Oxnard Police Department. Thus, the Oxnard City Council directs the Police Department to continue to do the following. And I think it's important to emphasize that all of these resolutions say continue to do, not begin to do, because our police department has been doing this all along. Number 1, to comply with federal and state immigration laws.
Yep.
Number 2, not to inquire into the immigration or citizenship status of an individual except where the inquiry relates to a legitimate law enforcement purpose or where required by federal or state law. Number 3, not to authorize or engage in any surveillance of a person or group based solely or primarily upon his or her actual or perceived national origin, religion, ethnicity, race, or immigration status. Number 4, not to interrogate, arrest, detain, or take other lawful enforcement action against an individual based solely upon that individual's perceived or actual race, national origin, religion, language, or immigration status. Number 5, except as necessary for public safety as determined by the police chief or designee, as required by state or federal law, or for a legitimate and legal law enforcement purpose, not to undertake any law enforcement action intended for the purpose of detecting the presence of undocumented persons. And number 6, not to enter into any agreement with ICE related to Section 287G of the Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigrant Responsibility Act of 1996 for the purpose of permitting the Oxnard Police Department's officers to perform immigration enforcement functions. I think it's important also to note, just a side note to this, that California has 2 statutes that do not allow a lot of local law enforcement actions with respect to immigration. In other words, it's already in state law that there are restrictions. And then the police chief drafted, and then the CRC agreed to the final language, which is that the Oxnard City Council urges both the legislative and executive branches of the federal government to work toward comprehensive immigration reform, which is desperately needed by the city of Oxnard and its families and businesses.
Thank you, Ms. Klima. I think the important thing that I wanted to stress here is one, that if someone here is in a status that doesn't allow them to be in this country and they're engaged in criminal activity that is detrimental to this community,
I want everything.
I don't think anyone has an issue with taking the appropriate action on returning them to their country. And I got that feeling from the chief, I got that feeling from Cause. And so I don't think there's any dispute there. But I'm trying to get to a point where people aren't afraid of getting a traffic ticket, because a traffic ticket is not a detrimental criminal violation. It's a traffic ticket, so it's a parking ticket. So I'm trying to alleviate a particular
They shouldn't even be in the country.
That is problematic to some persons. I also want to remind everybody that if you study the Constitution, I've been a constitutional law instructor for many, many years. If you look at the 14th Amendment, the Due Process Clause of the Constitution, it says that all persons in this nation are protected by the laws of our Constitution. It says nothing about your status here or anything else. It says you are protected by our laws, which means you have to receive due process. Doesn't mean you're immune from anything. It just means that you're protected by the due process element of the Constitution.
Total lie.
I think that's an important concept. There's nothing in this
His license has to be
resolution
revoked.
that is either not already occurring or not enumerated in the Constitution. We're not treading new land here. We're just consolidating a lot of issues that are out there. And if I can just have a couple more minutes.
Sure, please.
What I'd like to do, the two groups that I really worked with on this are Cause and Chief Whitney, because I saw them as the two stakeholders that I had dealt with on the most on this. So, Chief, I don't know if you have any comments about this or any concerns.
Thank you, Mr. Pinero.
Thank you, Councilman, Mayor Pro Tem, and
Keep showing the phone numbers, everybody.
There's a lot of red up there, and it looked like there's a lot of differences when you first look at it. But the reality is those three resolutions aren't that different. The only thing that's different was the recitals, and it didn't change the intent of the resolutions. The findings, and what was the other term? No, the findings and the direction didn't change from any of the three. I was the original author of the first resolution. I presented it to the CRC. I appreciated the changes that the CRC made. I didn't agree with everyone, but I appreciated the changes that they made.
Thanks for keeping an eye on
Probably the biggest issue I had with it is changing the name to a sanctuary city. Oxnard's not a sanctuary city. None of the resolution would make it a sanctuary city. And the reason I say that is when we arrest
They're
people,
doing
they
the
go
same
to
thing
county
with Huntington
jail,
Park.
and federal immigration has access to them at county jail. And I just don't think that calling it something that we're not is in the best interest of the city. So that's really the biggest issue that I have with that idea of calling
Sanctuary
it
city is a bad word.
We're not, and we wouldn't be.
Okay.
But having said that, three resolutions aren't that different. And if you don't mind, I would like to say a few other things in regards to our immigration enforcement, because I think it's important.
Yes.
We try to use every forum that I can. I'll say that our department is very supportive of our immigrants. We have a long history of
Legal
many
or
good
illegal?
examples of working together, collaborating together, and I really look forward to meeting more in the future. But there are several points that I want to be very clear about. The Oxnard Police Department does not engage in immigration enforcement. We do not ask people's immigration status. Our job is to protect everybody in our city, regardless of race, ethnicity, national origin, religion, or immigration status. We don't have the training or the expertise to enforce immigration law. Nor do we have the interest to engage in immigration enforcement. And I'll say that's largely because it would not improve public safety. We need the trust and cooperation of all of our residents. Our residents can't be fearful of the police, particularly if they're a victim.
And they shouldn't be here illegally.
And that's easy for me to say standing up here. And having said all that, the reality is that many of our residents live in mixed status families, and they're fearful of the police. I saw that throughout my entire career, starting the first week on the job. Immigrant communities, no matter what city, what state, what country you go to, immigrant communities are more vulnerable populations. And protecting the most vulnerable populations are really the reason why many of us signed up for this job to be police officers. When we wrote this resolution, I worked primarily with Assistant Chief Jason Benitez and Sherry Klima on this. When we wrote the resolution, we looked to see what was out there, what other resolutions were out there. Most of them were referred to as safe city resolutions. We met with several community groups, and then we started putting on paper our values and our practices related to immigration enforcement. This is an important point. This resolution or any of the three resolutions won't change the way the police department does business. It's important to emphasize that. It does not change the way we operate. But the benefit is more than symbolic. I think there's great value in putting statements like this on paper. It holds us more accountable. I've been saying, and the reality is this entire calendar year, I've been spending probably 2, 3, 4 events every week talking about immigration.
Jeez,
I still have talked to a small number of our residents. So we can say it, I can say it all I want, but there's much more value when you put it on paper. You can hold people accountable. It sends a message to our community. It sends a message to our employees. So last point, I really believe that if this resolution is passed, something similar to it, it will be looked at as a model. Because I think that it's personally, I think it's well written. I think it says what a lot of police departments, a lot of communities in Southern California, I think believe. I think it will be a model for other states. So I wanted to share that.
Thank you, Chief. I really appreciate your work and your comments.
And Mayor Pro Tem, one last request. If I could, I think Mr. Raul Lopez is somewhere out there. If I could ask him to come up
Yes, I saw him.
to offer their side of this whole process, because they were
the same guy who doesn't understand judicial issues.
Mr. Lopez.
Good evening, everybody. This has been a really long process, but and I actually share some similar feelings with the chief here that he didn't necessarily agree with a lot of the changes that were made. I didn't necessarily agree with all the changes that were made, but I think it's important that we definitely do something to address this issue, and I'm grateful for all the work that everybody's put in on this, because it hasn't only been me, it hasn't only been the chief, it's been groups of people. We've had hundreds of people out here, and as you can see, everybody out behind me right now, and so I appreciate the willingness to collaborate with the OPP chief, and also with the council members and the other organizations that put so much work into this. So I just I'd like to say that although there's obviously, I think, going to be on both sides, there'll be people that are left wanting a little bit. But I think if we focus on the importance of the fact that this was something that came together from a lot of different groups, from council, from the community, from the CRC, from the chief, and with everything that's been going on, I don't think there's anything wrong with all of these people coming together to address the population that everybody knows they have. So for me, it's hopefully with the votes, if we get the votes, I'm super proud of that accomplishment, because I don't see it as only a win for me or our organization or just Oxnard. I see this as kind of like the chief was saying. I believe it can be a model, and it's a first step in the right direction, because this isn't us condoning, violent criminals. This isn't us condoning racism or calling anybody racist.
Lie.
I'm not doing any of that. This is about, it's not about you up here, it's not about me, it's not even about the chief, it's about all the people that are working right now, picking the food that we're probably going to be eating later, and all the families that are out there that are literally creating Oxnard and making it better since it began. So for me, it's great to be able to do some collaborative work, and hopefully we can get this passed, and I believe Oxnard will be all the better for it. And though, like he's saying, I believe also it's more than a symbolic gesture. Putting this on paper does allow for holding accountability, but it also speaks to a bit of the spirit of the city that we have. And one of the other things is that I do want to acknowledge from the chief is that he acknowledged the fear of those families that he's been seeing throughout his career. And one of the things that I've seen lacking in a lot of, not only people that oppose sometimes or others, they don't acknowledge that. And to acknowledge that is also a huge step. Because a lot of times that's what we need. We need to feel each other and understand why we each feel how we feel. So I think we've all done that pretty well. I look forward to doing it some more, and I wish the best of luck for the vote tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. With all that being said, put together, I would just like to offer this as an alternate resolution to be considered when we get to a point where we're going to make a decision tonight. And I believe that we're able to consider this as a part of that package.
And I will support that. But I would like to, unless the council member has any urgent question, I'd like to hear from the public. I have about 30 speakers.
Wonderful.
And I'd like to ask Mr. Fisher, can I limit people to 2 minutes
Unfortunately.
at this stage? Otherwise, we're going to be here for a couple of hours.
I'd love to hear from everybody.
That would be my plan. So, can I go ahead with public comment? All right, thank you. First speaker, Steve Nash, to be followed by Arthur Shopper.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Pro Tem, Council Member, staff. Very important issue. All I have really are some words that have been spoken before. They are powerful words, nevertheless. The ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty by the bad people, but the silence over that by the good people. That's for Martin Luther King Jr. Right. He who allows oppression shares the crime. Harassment. It is often easier to become outraged by the injustice half a world away than by oppression and discrimination half a block from home.
Right.
Carl T. Rowan. Abraham Lincoln stated, "It is not my nature when I see a people borne down by the weight of their shackles, the oppression of tyranny, to make their life more bitter by heaping upon them greater burdens, but rather would I do all in my power to raise the yoke, than to add anything that would tend to crush them." Frederick Douglass wrote, "Where justice is denied, where poverty is enforced, where ignorance prevails, and where any one class is made to feel that society is an organized conspiracy to oppress, rob, and degrade them, neither persons nor property will be safe." Finally, do remember, though, that sometimes the people you oppress become mightier than you would like, and that's from Veronica Roth. Politicians have to wear many hats and answer to many demands, but when they fail to speak up for the least of us, they fail to speak up for all of us. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Chopper, to be followed by Shirley Lane.
My name is Arthur Shopper. I am a member of We the People Rising. We're a pro-immigration enforcement group. We support legal immigration. We oppose illegal immigration. I look at the language in E1. I would encourage the City Council to support Resolution 4A with a crucial amendment, which would read the importance of legal immigrants to the City of Oxnard. That distinction is beyond crucial. Immigrants, and I speak of that in the term of legally, they followed our laws, they followed our pathway. It takes them from 2 to 10 years. And we can debate that it takes too long, but that's the role of our federal government to change that. It is not the role of a city council to attempt to defy federal immigration laws. It's unacceptable. But the intent seems to be to diffuse this issue and to claim that there is no difference, and that is wrong. We're a nation of laws. We have one rule of law. When we talk about a set of laws for some people and a set of laws for others, there's a word for that: corruption. And the very dangers that the police departments wish to prevent will only be made worse. Sanctuary cities are not sanctuaries at all, except for politicians and their political careers. If they're able to survive the legal challenges, or as in the state of Texas, they go to jail. That ends their career immediately. That's the kind of stance that we actually need to see. I urge the City Council, by amendment 4A, and add the word legal. If you are in this country illegally, you need to return to your home country. It is not this country's responsibility to keep families together. Our compassion is not on trial. We have homeless veterans. We have homeless of all sorts. I saw 2 of them at the ARCO station here. Americans need to be cared for. That is our prerogative as citizens, and that's what I stand here for. Put Americans first and support legal immigration, not illegal. Thank you.
Thank you. Shirley Lane, to be followed by Deborah Zavala.
So it says I'm going to read it. Resolution of the city to reaffirm legal, not illegal.
I represent the gentleman that just spoke, and I just want to say that you say sanctuary or safe, it's a place for people that are illegal to hide. That is what I'm opposed to. I'm completely opposed to legal immigration. I'm not opposed to immigrants. We're all immigrants. And
not me, I was born here.
If we are already following the policies that have been set in place, I don't know why we need to have a special statement. Thank you.
Thank you. Deborah Zavala, to be followed by Mario Quintana.
Way to go, Lady Liberty.
Good evening. First, I ask, why is cause involved in writing this? Cause, nobody elected them. That's the first question I have. The second question I have is, again, to echo what the previous speaker said, why do we need a resolution to restate something that the police department has said that they have been doing for over 20 years? Why not just tell the truth about what they do and why it is unnecessary to have a resolution? Liberty, justice, and freedom. Words, words, words. Truth. They have meaning. I have a chance to meet and hear Officer Whitney. I've seen him here in the council chambers. I've seen him as a panelist on an immigration forum, as a speaker at a club, and as recently as last night at a meeting of the Oxnard chapter of the National Police Clergy. Chief Whitney believes in saying, do not break the law. Both he and the sheriff of their county have said in public and written that if you are here illegally and you are stopped for any reason, a broken taillight for instance, when the officer asks you a question, do not lie. If you do, you are breaking the law. The chief or the sheriff do not support the concept of breaking laws, which is what illegal aliens have done.
Yes.
Do not be fooled by those who want to break the law. If you do, you will go to jail. Do not. They will not go to jail. If you come here illegally and you are caught, you will be deported, not them. If you come here illegally and don't know it's legal for you to do so, they will not tell you this. Oxnard's Chief Whitney is a good man. He is a kind man. He does tremendous work out to every Oxnard community. Who do you want to believe? Chief Whitney, that we continue as we have been for the last 20 years, or the people who would tell you otherwise, like pause and play with words to play with your emotions?
Thank you. Mario Quintana, to be followed by Lily Bello Bello.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak. I see Mr. McDonald stepped out. I had hoped that maybe he would have come to one of our meetings. We held 3, and we had no input as to what he's trying to present here tonight. It's unfortunate that what we're seeing here tonight is people show up on both sides. Obviously, this is a big issue. This is a big issue. And let's look at the root cause of this issue is because a political campaign is based, in 2006 was based on the concept that illegal immigration is a reason for all our problems in the United States.
Many.
And that's unfortunate because now we have to go to the point where we have to clarify that's not the case. This country is built on immigrants. It has been. The inception of this country was the premise of why we have the United States of America. Unfortunately, he stepped out because I see here that he removed the line. There is a clear line between duties. Oxnard Police Department employs an obligation, both moral, legal, and legal, of local law enforcement and immigration enforcement. This is a moral issue. That's what this is. I can tell you that one of the biggest reasons why I called for sanctuary is because sanctuary means something. We had a presentation from our chief, Scott Whitney. The subject line was sanctuary. Sanctuary City Resolution. When we got the resolution, sanctuary disappeared.
Right.
That's what gets the headlines because that is synonymous with security.
No, it's not.
I can tell you personally that I have felt it. I have family members who are not undocumented, but they go to school with undocumented kids or family members of them. Those individuals tell me that those kids are living in fear. My wife is a teacher. She's telling me her kids are living in fear, that their parents are living in fear. Not just people who are undocumented, but people that may even have the perception of being undocumented. To me, that's why you make a statement. I've always been taught that when you are bullied, you stand up to that bully. And right now, we're being bullied. The question is whether you act.
Thank you. Lily Bello, to be followed by Nathan Ramos.
Good afternoon, Oxnard City Council. My name is Lily Bayo. I go to Wainimi High School and I'm a senior. I want to start off by asking the council to take a moment and look at today's audience. The mothers, the children, the fathers, the workers. And I ask you to not be blind with color, to not avoid it, but to embrace it. Let's make this a conversation of color because Oxnard is color. 74% of Oxnard's population is Latino and 8% is Asian. 38% are immigrants, and that's a total of 80,000 people whose fate is in your hands. The fate of my classmates who excel academically but have fear of the future after high school for fear of separation, deportation, and limitation. I am an honor roll student who takes and passes college classes. I am recognized as a national prep scholar, and in my afternoons I cheer. Yet when I come home at 8 after all my extracurricular activities, I have to come in through my backyard because my parents are afraid to open the front door. The youth cannot excel, cannot advance if they fear being torn away from the hands of their mothers, fathers, and brothers. All they ever loved and expected to always be there for support. So we arm ourselves in the way our forefathers taught us, with words, books, and knowledge, and we become soldiers defending our families, friends, neighbors, and most importantly, communities' rights. We defend them in ways that shouldn't be necessary. Your constituents are asking you to make them feel supported and vote yes on Safe City. It is your job to protect and serve your city. Do not cower and shy from your role as councilmen and women, but rise to the occasion and be the leaders that the people of Oxnard deserve, that I deserve. And in regards with the bigots in this room, as former First Lady Michelle Obama said, when they go low, we go higher.
She's a bigot.
Thank you,
that is all.
Nathan Ramos, to be followed by Paulina Lopez.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Nathan Ramos. Sanctuary, safe, secure, whatever you want to call it, we don't care. What we care about is your vote, because your vote will decide on whether or not you stand with and protect Oxnard's immigrant community. This community is composed of immigrants, so why aren't we doing enough to protect them? Families are too afraid to call 911, too afraid to drop off their kids at school,
Whose fault is
too
that?
afraid to even step outside the door to a city that won't protect them. You as representatives have the power to change that. Oxnard in general will not lose anything at all, but gain the trust of the immigrants that we have here. We know the city can only go so far for us, but just knowing that our local representatives really want to support us and protect us is enough. Hope could go so far for most city people here, but hope for an immigrant is enough. So please, protect us, or at least make it bearable for us to even walk out the door. Thank you.
Thank you. Paulina Lopez, to be followed by Jorge Toledano.
Hi, my name is Paulina Lopez, and I am a senior at Channel Islands High School, and I am a product of two immigrants. My cousins are products of immigrants. My uncles and aunts are products of immigrants, hardworking immigrants at that. They are hardworking, selfless, beautiful immigrants. They came here hopeful of a better life. They came here to give me, them, and every generation after me a better life. They risked their life crossing a man-made border with no actual meaning. They left everything behind, risked everything, and in the end chose to call Oxnard their home. They chose Oxnard to be their children's home. This story doesn't only apply to me and my family. It applies to many, many, many more families in Oxnard. After all our families went through, they don't deserve to be living in constant fear of our government. They deserve to be with their families. Their children deserve to be with their parents. Their children deserve to be able to get home from school and greet their hardworking parents. Their children deserve to get home from school to an empty house and feel secure knowing that their parents will come home later from work. Oxnard is a city of immigrants. Oxnard is a family of immigrants. Call it what you want, sanctuary city or safe city, but let our beautiful immigrants call it home. Thank you.
Thank you. Please, no applause. Thank you.
Real quickly.
Yes.
Ms. Clean was kind enough to bring in a stack of copies of this resolution, but in the cleaned up version. They're on the counter next to Mr. Miller there somewhere, so if anybody wants a copy. I apologize for the lateness of it, but it happened all very quickly. Very short time.
Thank you. Mr. Toledano to be followed by Raul Lopez. You don't need to speak again, do you? No? Okay, good. All right. Señor Toledano.
Buenas tardes. Estoy a favor de Sanctuary.
I am in favor. All right, excuse me. We have to wait a minute till this promotion is over with. So hold it.
It happened all of a sudden, so quickly. Sounds like a Brown Act violation.
Okay, please.
Sorry about that, ma'am.
Sigue, por favor.
I am in favor of getting all criminals out of Oxnard.
Yes.
People who have committed serious crimes, who have killed, who sell drugs. I do agree with them getting out of here. But I am against innocent people being taken away. People
They're not
who
innocent.
come to struggle and fight day after day to make Oxnard a prosperous city with their work. We pay taxes.
Support our troops.
Every week we get deductions from our paychecks, even if we are undocumented. We only come here for a better future. I heard a minute ago that they want to protect the Americans. I am also an American.
Wonderful.
Because I was born in America. Thank you.
Thank you. Irma Lopez to be followed by Ruth Maria Capel.
This is the lady who's been here longer than I have, but don't tell me why.
Good afternoon, Mayor Pro Tem Ramirez, Councilman McDonald, Councilman Perello, and Councilman Madrigal. Thank you for listening to us. I know sometimes these situations are difficult. I'm very proud today to be here with my husband, former Mayor Dr. Manuel Lopez, and our two daughters and my granddaughter. This is an important issue for us. That we know how important it is also to you. I think it's wonderful, everyone that we have here today. This is democracy in action. And as the saying goes, democracy is not a spectator sport. We all have to be and respect everybody's view, even if we don't agree with them. But I would like to implore all of you, we had, and we still have in spirit, the motto of Oxnard, Oxnard, the city that cares. Yes, we do. We care about everyone in this city. And we have always supported all of our residents, white, black, brown, whatever. I think we all want a better world. We all want a better world. We want a better community. I think that it's important to hear that. I have had to be sitting next to someone that has constantly been talking through all of this. I find it very hard to even listen to some of this. So even though they have a right to their opinions, in this area, they should not be chattering nonstop. And I would hope that all of us can respect each other's views. And thank you very much. I'm counting on you.
She must be talking about somebody behind her.
Thank you. Ruth Maria Capel to be followed by Sofia Vega.
Good evening, City Council, Mayor Pro Tem Ramirez, City Councilman Bert Perello, Ryan McDonald, and Oscar Madrigal. I came here because I was born in Nazi Germany. I was 7 years old when the war was over.
Wow.
And I asked my parents, as I grew up, how could that have happened? How could all of these things that we read about and that we hear now, and that I found out subsequently, how could these have happened? What did you do? My parents said in many different conversations over the years, the primary cause of what brought that kind of terror into force was ignorance. People who didn't know. And out of ignorance came fear and prejudice. Fear of the other, the one who speaks another language, who looks different, and prejudice against them. And therefore, all the doors that might have been opened before started to close. And you know the story of Nazi Germany. I don't have to tell you, but I am hearing in the immigration debate in this country, and also here locally, I hear those fears. I hear the ignorance of what are indeed the contributions that our immigrant community makes and has been making. Do we acknowledge that? Will we acknowledge that by providing a safe place for them? Isn't it our responsibility to provide a safe place for all members of this community? And so I urge you to think about a safe place for all members of our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Sophia Vega to be followed by George Miller. Sophia?
Good evening. No one is illegal here unless you label them with the term illegal. The undocumented community, as you should say, is the community that feeds you, works for you, pays taxes like you do, and lives here, deserve the same right your family had when they first got to this country, which is the United States of America. It's time to make Oxnard a sanctuary city and to protect our immigrant community that has been and will continue to be here unless you protect them to stay here, protect their family, protect their children, protect them all. It is in your hands to decide today whether you want to protect the community that has been here for several decades, including your own family. I appreciate your time, and honestly, think about it, and I hope you do decide that Oxnard needs to be a sanctuary city now. Thank you.
Thank you, George Miller, to be followed by Patty Sutton.
Good evening, Council. Last one. You know, I've spoken on this subject a number of times. There's no need for this meeting tonight and for this resolution. What Chief Whitney worked out was something that there was a general consensus for in most of the community. What we have here is grandstanding. Yep. Grandstanding by certain NGOs and certain people on the council. Mayor Flynn told me tonight when I asked him, how did you manage to be out of the country when this vote was taken tonight? He said certain people on the council moved it forward. Now what the hell were you doing that when he's not around? I'm talking.
I'd ask that
I'm talking.
You're out of order, Mr. Miller.
No, he's not. Don't interrupt.
Profanity, please.
I'm sorry.
Brown Act violation.
No profanity, please.
That's a Brown Act violation.
Do this in the absence of the mayor. There was no need for this resolution. This is grandstanding. That's what it's all about. In fact, the de facto policy of this country, I'm still talking.
Oh.
The de facto policy of this country is not to address
what an awful B word.
Unless they are criminal. You are making a big scare about nothing, scaring people when it doesn't need to be done. All for political advantage and feel-good stuff. That's what this is all about. If you would work half as hard in helping our residents of Oxnard to gain legal status and understanding what was going on, we'd be a lot better off than this demagoguery that I've seen for a long time right now. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, Ms. Ramirez. I could say more, but my time is running out very rapidly. I think I actually agree with most of the resolution, especially the portions that reinforce the Fourth Amendment and the Fifth Amendment, illegal search and stuff like that. A certain sheriff in Arizona lost his job because he didn't understand that, as Councilman McDonald does very well. However, what I do object to is some of the vague language and when the enforcement can be invoked. I believe that, okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sorry.
I would ask that future speakers please refrain from profanity. Patty Settle to be followed by Michael Hernandez.
I'm Patty Settle. Good evening. Thank you for listening to me. I'll keep it brief.
Microphone.
Push the mic.
Just push it down for yourself. Thank you, ma'am.
Something that hasn't been brought up before.
Thank you, ma'am.
And that is, I'm afraid. I've been here about 8 years, and I'm afraid here. I'm afraid of driving in the streets. I'm afraid of, I lock my car, I get to my car as soon as I can. I'm just afraid here.
Oh my God.
There's a lot of crime in this city. A lot. I'm embarrassed of it. We can't even get that under control. Why bring in people that are unvetted? We don't know their backgrounds. We don't know why they really want to be here. We don't know anything about them. We don't know what will happen in the future. They're not putting the effort to become citizens to begin with. They're illegal. So that's a crime in itself right there to begin with. I'm a taxpayer. My grandparents came here from another country years ago. They came legally. I just want you to consider those of us that are afraid, because we're not being spoken about. There are a bunch of us that are afraid. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael Hernandez, to be followed by Hector Moreno.
Jazz hands for legal immigration only.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here. I'm the co-founder of Citizens Journal, and I came tonight to basically speak totally against using the terminology of sanctuary city. I don't think that's necessary. But I didn't really see the purpose of either one of the resolutions. I listened very intently to Councilman McDonald's, and this is what I'm willing to say, knowing my position coming here, which was against either one, that if the police chief is willing to go forward with that, what I want to do and put on myself on record is we need to support, and I'm glad you changed OPD, which I think is kind of bad usage of language, to the Oxnard Police Department. I want to go on record in supporting the efforts of the police department. July 4th,
no hands. Shameful.
1 block away, there was a shooting. Technically, it was Port Hueneme. It was an Oxnard boy. There's been 10 shootings. There's been 10 shootings in Oxnard. What are we doing to solve those homicides? If we have a fear problem, well, then I'm willing to bend. But how many people would have seen that shooting? How many people should have come forward and provided evidence to our police department for safety in our community?
Unbelievable.
So I was impressed with our police officers at the clergy police meeting yesterday, and I want to go on record that I believe that if they're comfortable with it, I'm willing to support that position, even though that's more of a compromise on my part, because I want to go on record and say we as a community need to support our law enforcement, and I thank them for what they did.
Thank you, Mr. Moreno.
Thank you.
And to be followed by Edelmira Schumann.
Good evening, Pro Tem Mayor Carmen Ramirez, and the rest of all the council members. Good evening to all of you.
Good evening.
I already talked before about these so-called sanctuary cities, which I am totally against, which immigrants that come legally to the United States of America. Those are the immigrants. Other people, they're illegal people that come breaking our federal immigration laws.
Amen.
See, I'm a Mexican from Mexico. I came here the legal way. I used the legal process to come here. I went through all the perils through the legal process, and I'm here legally. I have nothing against so-called immigrants, because I was an immigrant myself. What I am against is breaking the federal immigration laws. It is not rocket science. We have to stand on the side of the law. Let's cooperate with the federal immigration officers. Let's help them to detain and deport these people that don't belong in the United States. I don't care whether they work or not working here. It's not about race, it's not about color, it's not about their languages, it's not about that. It's about the rule of the law. We are here in a country of laws. We have to respect them. If I go to other countries, do you think they're gonna welcome me with the red carpet? No, they're gonna vet me. And if I don't belong there, they're just gonna deport me wherever I'm from. So please.
Share this, celebrate this man.
From you to please vote no on the so-called safe or sanctuary city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To be followed by Valerie White.
The rest of you should be ashamed of yourself.
Respect the situation.
I'm allowed to make a comment.
So my name is Ventura County, and I am a teacher here at a local school. And, I came with a prepared statement and, just based on things that I've been reading in the newspaper and, where the council members stand on, Oxnard becoming a sanctuary city. And I kind of wanted to enlighten you on, my personal experience of what I have seen directly, beginning with, after the elections and my students coming and being afraid. And,
I'm doing my best. I'm allowed to speak. I'm whispering. She's just being disruptive.
And I had to,
I do.
tell
She's
them,
disruptive.
because, students, they look up to their team. No, I'm not scared, and you shouldn't be scared either, because you have to be confident that the people and the leaders of our city will take care of you. And that's why I feel like it is my duty to be here tonight, to speak for these children who don't have a voice sometimes in these issues. And I just want to, also encourage you and urge for you guys to vote for Oxnard to be a sanctuary city. There are, the school year ended, but I had students whose fathers were taken, whose mothers had to lie and say, oh, he's visiting, he'll be back soon, and and you hear like, oh no, they're only going to come for the criminals, but then the opposite is happening. And it's just sad to know that students, we're holding meetings to let students know, oh, this is what you do in case your parent is taken, or in case both parents are taken. This is the procedure you should follow, but that's the reality that our families are living, and it's not fair. They are, born here, born wherever they are. They're people. And, I'm hearing a lot of great things, progress. I know Councilman McDonald, I don't know, in the paper it seemed like you stood. Anyway, so sanctuary city.
Thank you, Valerie White, to be followed by Shannon Lopez.
Just going to read it. Laws matter. Borders matter. They're written into the law. Legal status matters. The Constitution spells out the protections and rights for everyone in this country. The state spells out the laws that protect the rights of people in this state. There are laws that spell out what the police department can do and how they are to treat people fairly. To comment on previous speakers, illegal is clearly defined in the law.
I'm not in her face.
Multiple
I'm not
areas.
sharing it.
So yes, there is such
I'm not
a
putting it
thing
in her
as
face.
an illegal alien.
I'm not putting it in her face.
If anyone
Okay, sir?
wishes to be
And you're getting really
protected by
close.
the law, they should
I'm not
follow
in her
the law.
face. I'm not in her
It's
face.
not
I hear what you say.
which laws to follow.
She's bothering me. I'm
Thank
doing
you,
this right here.
Shannon
And I'm
Lopez,
allowed to do that. Okay?
Followed by Richard Neff.
Okay.
Or Neve.
It's called the First Amendment. That's what I was doing, sir.
Good evening, council members, and thank you for your time. Again, similarly, I had a prepared statement, but I feel like a lot of what I wanted to say and the reasons that I support Oxnard becoming a safe or sanctuary city have been said. But I do want to say thank you to Chief Whitney and to Councilman McDonald. It's nice to hear that there's a lot of thought going into this and collaboration between the different constituents. But what I would like to say is that I think I would like to see that the council supports the majority of this community that you were elected to serve all of Oxnard. And I would like to see that, again, from a humanitarian standpoint. We have many mixed status families who maybe the parents are undocumented, but the children are citizens. Some of their children may be DACA recipients. And so I think we need to make sure that we're protecting, keeping those families together as they are productive members of our society. I wanted to address some of the comments that were stated. Why don't these people become legal residents? And I wanted to let the council know, as well as the audience, that there is a movement with different organizations, including CAUSE and SEIU, to hold citizenship fairs in Oxnard. We are having our second one this Sunday, where many trained volunteers have come, used their volunteer time, and are going to help people fill out those applications. There's a lot of barriers to entry as far as filling out the applications, the cost of it, a language barrier. So I want to let the council know that these organizations were not just asking for a safe city, but we are also dedicated to helping our residents become citizens and to become legal. And that, I would beg you all to please support this resolution, as it will give a strong message to our community and also other cities in our region that we are behind the immigrants and the constituents of the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard Neve, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. To be followed by Lupe Anguiano. Please pronounce your name when you get there. Thanks.
Good evening, Mayor, Botan, Council. My name is Dr. Richard Neve.
Thank you.
PhD in politics. I'm here as a representative of the Ventura County chapter of Democratic Socialists of America. We are here tonight to stand in solidarity with the residents, the undocumented residents, and everyone in Oxnard, as well as the community organizations and groups that have worked so hard on this resolution. We strongly support it, and we urge a yes vote. I also wanted to add that something you probably already know, that resolutions like this have a very firm legal basis that has been reaffirmed by the Supreme Court on multiple occasions. Local police and law enforcement agencies cannot be deputized to enforce federal law. Furthermore, they also, there is a federal statute that requires information sharing between local law enforcement and the federal government. It doesn't have an enforcement mechanism or a penalization for not doing it, though. The Supreme Court has said that there is no way for punishments to come for local law enforcement, such as federal defunding, which you may have heard. That's an empty threat, and there is a firm legal basis for these. And as Councilman McDonald stated before, all persons who are here have 14th Amendment protections and rights to due process, and we support those rights. And I just wanted to end on sort of a moral and historical note, which is that America is really built on undocumented immigrants, and the undocumented immigrants who are here today and who are members of our community and our families and our friends have as much right to be here as all of the European people who got on boats and came to the New World and came to Ellis Island. They weren't legal, they didn't have papers, they weren't vetted, they were welcomed here as members of our society and of our community, and we feel that that tradition and that spirit should continue. And we urge a yes vote on the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Lupe Anguiano, to be followed by Akemi.
Perversion. Total perversion.
I want to acknowledge Lupe Anguiano as one of the icons of the civil rights movement in our country. Thank you for being here.
I just had to be here. In my
Pull your mic down, yes.
I just had to be here, and I express strong support that you urgently support Oxnard Sanctuary City and not water it down to make sure that everybody agrees on that. You know, I was sitting back there and I was wondering what would happen if all of the strawberry workers left the city of Oxnard.
Machines.
What would happen to our
Machines.
strawberries? What would happen to our strawberry festival? And I was thinking about the salsa festival and what we really celebrate. And the fact that Oxnard has a sister city where we have Ocotlán. And sometimes we think too much or we look too much at what's happening in Washington. And I want to remind everyone, I've worked with President Johnson, I've worked with President Reagan, President Carter, and President Nixon. And I want to tell you that they all appreciated that I agreed to go to Washington to work, because they didn't even know what salsa was or what a tortilla was or what beans were. And even President Nixon he saw a elote and he chewed on it. But anyway, I think that we need to do a better job in educating
Time's up.
where we are and what we do and what Oxnard stands for.
Time's
Thank
up.
you very much. Please, no applause. Jazz hands. Kimmy Von Flores, and I don't think I'm pronouncing your name correctly, so I apologize. To be followed by Genevieve Flores. Haro.
Good evening, Council. My name is Kevin Flores, Regional Coordinator with the CIU. If it's okay with you, I would like to cede my post to Roberto Camacho.
All right.
Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Roberto Camacho. I am an board member for SCIU, a County of Ventura employee, a PhD student, a community leader, and a son of farm workers who had been working in the field for 30 years. Should my parents had split by immigration, I wouldn't be here talking to you, serving my community as a county employee and making a difference. So today you have the power, you have the voice for those who don't. And I am not here just for myself. I'm here to be the voice for those people, for my community, for those farm workers, those people who are here opposing to them, they don't even realize that they get beat by my parents, by my people, by your people in your community. So we are not criminals, we are contribution. You have a life example in me, a PhD student who came from Mexico, who's doing something good about it. So we are contribution to Oxnard. So don't let fear decide your vote. Do what's right for the people, do what's right for my people. And like what Cesar Chavez said, si se puede, but it is only possible with you because you would be the voice of those violent people in our community. Don't buy into we're criminals. We're not. Look at me. I'm serving everybody here, everywhere in the county. I work in Oxnard, Ventura, Moorpark, and I'm making a difference. And that's what you are to expect from my people. So thank you for your time. Don't let fear decide on your vote. Rather, what's possible for us. Thank you.
Mr. Camacho, would you please fill out a blue card so we can have your name down correctly? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Genevieve Flores to be followed by Isel Barajas.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, and Oxnard residents. My name is Genevieve Flores Caro, and I'm here on behalf of the Mixteco Indigena Community Organizing Project. My COP has been involved in the Safe City process from the beginning. Our leaders, our volunteers, staff, and board members have all given public comment, and we're very happy to see it finally on the agenda. We're involved because we see firsthand the fear that exists within our Indigenous immigrant families here in Oxnard, where there's the Indigenous child asking their teacher to adopt them in case their parents are deported. Or the family opting not to renew their Medi-Cal, or the 25% agricultural labor shortage that we currently face in the county. The fear is tangible, and it's no way for our Oxnard residents to live. We're doing our part to keep our community informed of their rights, and we even had Chief Whitney featured on our Radio Indigena to, again, give more information to our community. Our efforts in conjunction with the Safe City Resolution will provide for a safer, more informed Oxnard and peace of mind for our Indigenous immigrant families who work in and raise their children in the city of Oxnard, as we're all in pursuit of the American dream. There's been a lot of talk this evening about words, and it's quite fitting that Lady Liberty is here tonight. And so I want to end with, give me you're tired, you're poor, you're huddled, masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these homeless, the tempest tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. We respectfully urge your yes vote tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Isel Barajas to be followed by Musa Bassi.
Good evening. My name is Giselle Barajas, and I work for Ryder Affiliated Companies, a family-owned farming company that has been growing berries in Oxnard and throughout various parts of Ventura County for over 40 years. Ryder supports a proposed resolution for Oxnard to become a sanctuary city. Since we, along with our affiliated partners, employ a predominantly immigrant workforce, our employees are the backbone of our company, and we would not be able to sustain our farms and produce our agricultural products without their vital support. We urge the City Council to approve this resolution to ease the fear and anxiety that currently exists in our community and reconstitute a renewed sense of trust to our families. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Musa Bassi, to be followed by M. Jones.
Good evening, council members.
Good
My
evening.
name is Musa Bassi, and I'm a citizen of Oxnard. I've lived here my entire life. But I'm also the son of two immigrants who came here from Sierra Leone in West Africa. And they came at a time when the country was war-torn and the government was corrupt.
Terrible.
And they came here looking for a better life. They came here legally in the 1970s, and it was way easier to become an immigrant legally in the United States before the 1980s. Now the immigration system is so broken, there are so many obstacles, it's very, very difficult to become a citizen now. So, I'm here today in support of this resolution, not only because it is the smart thing to do, but because it is the right thing to do. Whether you are undocumented or documented, every immigrant has the same experience coming into the United States. They come here for a better life. They come here to contribute to their communities. They come here so that they can build a better future for their children. We've heard a lot of alternative facts tonight from the people on the other side. And I'd just like to just give a few statistics.
I'm feeling disturbed now.
If you really look at it, the people who come here with actual research and actually look up their information are the ones in support of this resolution tonight. The people who oppose the resolution are the ones who come here with fear-mongering and demagoguery. I'm speaking.
Please.
My point is, this needs to happen. The time is not next month, next year, next week. The time for a sanctuary city in Oxnard is now.
Please. Thank you for your jazz hands. Mr. Jones, and my last card here is, I believe it's Joan Lopez.
Last card, yay.
Mr. Jones.
This isn't what I was going to talk about, but I'll talk about immigration. First, it's not true. People were turned away at Ellis Island of all colors. If there was a disease, something that looked unusual in terms of cancer maybe, they were turned away. Not everybody got through Ellis Island. Number one. Number two, it's a convoluted situation. There is the rule of law. We have to have a rule of law. But at what point do we understand that if the country is going to grow, we're going to have immigration, legal or otherwise. You have to have people to fill jobs, get a paycheck, buy something that somebody made. Sure. And it keeps on going. At the present time, the birth rate of citizens of the United States, within the borders of the United States, are not having a birth rate that will sustain the economy of the United States. If you look at the Economist magazine, you'll see several articles about this. A very good magazine. But the fact is, if the country of the United States is going to grow, we will have to have immigrants, sure, legal or otherwise. Undoubtedly, if we're going to have a rule of law, I suppose, and strictly enforce it in some way, it's going to be difficult for illegals. But as far as the police department is concerned, that's certain. You break the law, you're going to get arrested. Then what? You go to county jail. What happens there? I don't know. Thank you.
Joe Lopez?
I don't
Is it
want to
Joan
know.
Or John?
I don't want to know.
All right. Joan, I believe. And that's the last card, so if anybody else wanted to speak, I did not receive your card.
Oh.
Thank you, Council. And yes, we are seeing democracy here this evening. And we do have probably several opposing sides and some for this. But just want to remind everyone, if a person has committed a crime, they need to be reported to law officers and the laws need to be followed. That's what you all pledged. Police chief, sheriffs, we know that. We are a country of laws and we need to follow them. If I go to Mexico, if I go to Germany and I break their law, I'm arrested, okay? So people that came here, I'm a Catholic, I want to accept them all, but we have to fix our immigration system. We cannot allow a sanctuary city where my life is affected. I'm a senior citizen. I don't want this city like Berkeley, I don't want this city like San Francisco, and neither do any of you. Thirdly, I urge you to continue to take a stand, and we don't want to be against any federal law and be affected by any sanctions that this stand will have if we go against federal law. Thank you, Chief Whitney and Sheriff Dean and their staff for protecting all who live in Oxnard. Everyone is expected to obey the law. That is the law. We have a constitution. We have a state constitution, and many in our legislators in Sacramento have broken the laws of the state constitution, and they also pledged to our U.S. Constitution, and I have written to many of them and called. Thirdly, what about the families who have lost a loved one who has been killed by someone who was harbored and living in Sanctuary City? These are the people we're after. We're not after a farm worker. We want process and due law. We're not here to break families. And I'm tired of people bashing our children in the schools who are conservative, who are Trump supporters. We are very much involved in school boards. So there's a lot more to this, but I want to tell everyone.
You're bothering me. Be quiet. She's bothering me. I'm not in her place. Shame on you.
Legal, but my grandparents came from Poland and they were vetted. Everybody was.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Peggy Rivera, last card.
Thank you. Shame on you.
Mayor Pro Tem and fellow council members.
Her safe space
I
must be
didn't really
50
think I was
wide.
going to speak tonight because I knew that I wanted to yield my time to other people, but I will say that I am very, very moved by the unity first and foremost of all the people that take part in this resolution.
Yeah.
Because it takes a lot to get our city, our community together at one table. And this has shown that we've come together for this cause. I do believe that we have a pretty much safe city. Oxnard Police Department does an extremely good job, and we could not ask for a better Chief of Police, Chief Whitney. I am so proud of Chief Whitney and all of Oxnard PD for the work that they do. They are bringing things back that we haven't had in our city for a long time. He's approachable. People feel comfortable with him. It's just easy to talk to him. But what I will say is that I still feel that there's those NIMBY people who are divided and that ugliness that comes forward. We are a city that cares. Let's stand up and really do what we say we're going to do, and that's support. It doesn't matter what the issue is. If it's important enough to bring this many people out, then it's damn important to me. I think that we should do this for all issues that affect our city, like the issue of homelessness. Mr. Nighthawk, when you came, I asked you, I need your help. We still need your help on that issue. It's a big issue, and we have new homeless in our city that is a breed of its own today, and we need to stop it.
Homeless is serious in this.
I'm proud of my city, and you know what? We should not walk down the streets and be fearful. And if you're fearful of Oxnard, it's time maybe to pack your bags and go. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right, well, that concludes public comment on this. Oh, okay, one more. Have you filled out a card, Mr.
Actually,
Mayor?
I submitted a card for general comments, but I
Well,
wanted-
we're going to do that after. Do you want to speak on this
I'd like
issue?
to switch it to this.
All right.
I thought I was being slick and I could speak early.
That's
for
fine.
general
You wanted to have the last word, okay?
It backfired on me, so. Okay, so first of all, for the record, I want to say that the real citizens of Oxnard were the Shumash. All the rest of us are here standing on stolen ground, so just wanted to say that. My name is Manuel Herrera, and I'm the creator of Citizens for a Better Oxnard. However, I'm here representing myself. I'm here in support of the Sanctuary City resolution. I've always felt that no one should ever make a decision based on fear, nor should any citizens live in fear. So I believe that by passing the resolution, the citizens that this will impact will no longer have to live in fear, and you as a body can show that you have no fear in protecting all the citizens of Oxnard. You won't be alone if you pass this resolution. Cities like San Francisco, New York, Chicago, even Santa Monica has done the same thing. As of May 2017, there are 171 jurisdictions that have officially enacted sanctuary policies. Of the 171 jurisdictions, 37 are cities, 4 are states, and the rest are counties. California has 19 of them. Your decision will be protected under the 10th Amendment. Sanctuary policies are legal and protected by the 10th Amendment. The 10th Amendment provides for the separation of federal and state powers. Let's not also forget why we're really here. We're here because the government
Immigration is
has
a
not
federal
fixed
policy.
the broken immigration system. So because of that, we are forced as citizens to stand up. You are forced to make decisions, something that the government should do. So I hope you will make the right decision.
Thank you very much. All right, we're going to now go. I want to thank everybody who came, and it was good. I'll have council comments now at this point. I'm sorry? Yes. Go ahead, Ms. Lopez.
Because the Community Relations Commission brought this topic up, I just have a point of information and clarification. Our resolution stemmed, I want to make that clear, it stemmed from Chief Whitney's resolution on the importance of immigrants. So I want the community to know that, because I hear everyone saying how they want to support our law enforcement and and the City of Oxnard Police Department. We do too, and our resolution stemmed from Chief Whitney's resolution, as does Brian McDonald. So I want to make that clear.
Thank you very much. Do you want to say something, Mr. Manuel?
Just as a point of clarification.
Yes.
Appreciate that. I think that there was some comments about how this got on the agenda this evening, and I want to clarify that this is something that a committee of this city council of this city, the Community Relations Commission, took up on many occasions to come up with a recommendation to this city council. And because we had very busy meetings on the 11th, on the 18th, they were postponed by me on several occasions. And so I am the one that said, listen, this is an issue that's been going on for quite some time. They were anxious to have this brought forward, and I thought it was the right thing to do, to present this item as their recommendation to the city council, as would be the case with the planning commission, with the neighborhood council, with all the different groups. So I wanted to make sure that no one had the wrong impression that any individual council made a decision one way or the other when to do this. I think it's important that no single council member can tell a Community Relations Commission, a Planning Commission, or any commission whether or not an item should be heard or not. So that's, I see as my role, is to make sure that bodies that this council has appointed have this opportunity to come forward, make their recommendations to the city. And so I'm the one who put this on the agenda this evening. I did talk to the mayor quite extensively about this, and as well the mayor pro tem, just to talk through the fact that he was pre-scheduled not to be here, but it was very important that this be heard. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. We'll have council comments now. Councilman Corello, would you like to start? And I'd like to ask if we've already spent quite a bit of time, so we can keep our comments concise. It'd be great.
Thank you. I have a statement. It's about 5 minutes. I intend to read the entire statement, and I intend to bring up some questions.
All right.
If okay with you.
Okay, I'd like to start by asking some questions of the police chief. As you're walking up so you can get ready, how many counties in the state of California do not take their prisoners to a county jail?
Thank you. Council member, Mayor Pro Tem and Council, my understanding there's 58 counties in the state of California. 57 of those counties have cities like us where we take our prisoners to a county jail. My understanding is that the county of San Francisco and the city of San Francisco are essentially the same. They do things differently.
If a prisoner is taken to a county jail, is he subject to some sort of investigation by ISIS or some sort of collaboration with the sheriff's department of the city, of the county, of whatever county it is, and the federal government?
Yes, my understanding is that so there's 57 counties, including the city of the county of Ventura. We all do things one way, and it's different than how San Francisco does it. We all of the cities take our prisoners to county jail. In this case, our officers drive the prisoners to Ventura County Jail, and then federal immigration has access to the county jail. And that was my big point about us not being a sanctuary city, because our prisoners, just like the other prisoners in the city, our arrestees, they go to county jail, and federal immigration has access to county jail.
If the city of Oxnard were to declare itself a sanctuary city, would that give protection to anyone arrested going to jail at the county of Ventura from protection from ICE or investigation if they had a background?
No.
It would not give them any protection?
No, it wouldn't change anything.
So if we were to approve this item that is one of the items that is on the agenda for sanctuary city, and it did not give protection to someone who were arrested, taken to county jail, and their immigration status became an issue, and they were, shall we say, caught up in the system and deported, would they have the feeling that if the city of Oxnard was betrayed, if the city of Oxnard had been declared a sanctuary city, that possibly this council would have betrayed them in assuming that they were free from that type of concern?
I don't know about that, but it is one of the frustrations I have when I see some cities call themselves sanctuary cities. I think in one way they're writing a check that they can't cash because they're not providing sanctuary, because their arrestees are subject to the same law enforcement that all the other cities are.
And in the process of doing your job, and it's been highly, and I also think you're doing a heck of a job. Not just you, it's the men and women that back you up. You're lucky to have good men and women that back you up.
That's right.
And if they don't do a good job, you take care of them. And if you don't do a good job, the city manager takes care of you. And if the city manager doesn't do a good job, the council takes care of the city manager, as well as the city attorney. That's just how it works. That's what happens when you're fortunate or unfortunate on this evening to be a council member sitting up here looking at all the eager, fat, passionate faces looking at us. If you or one of your men arrests an individual for a crime, do you have the opportunity to decide not to take him to jail?
To county jail, yes, we do.
You do have an opportunity not to take him to jail?
Yes.
What allows you to make a determination if you take him to jail or not?
Generally, if it's a very low level offense, the officers have the discretion to what we call site booking. So they're brought to our holding facility, and we do a booking there. Generally, it's they're low level offenses like say a petty theft or something like that. If they don't have they don't have a prior offense and they have good identification, that might be an instance where they're not taken to county jail.
Thank you. Are you in support of the sanctuary city resolution?
Not the term sanctuary city, no.
Are you still in support of the initial one that you brought to this, that you presented at the committee?
That one is my preference. I'm fine with the one that the Councilman McDonald presented as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think that's all I have, Chief. Thank you for answering questions. I'd like to read a statement, Mayor, because I have a problem supporting the sanctuary city, and if the clerk can hand out to the council and the public, I'd like to read it. First of all, I want to thank all who spoke tonight and exercised the precious First Amendment rights of free speech, peaceable assembly, and petitioning of government for redress of their grievances in order to take their opportunities to influence public policy. All of these vital rights are enshrined in the United States Constitution, and they are secured by the blood, sweat, and tears shed by countless numbers of brave men and women, both native-born citizens and freedom-loving immigrants throughout our nation's long history. America is a nation populated by immigrants who came here from all over the world. It is also a nation populated by the children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren of native-born indigenous peoples who lived here well before our immigrant forefathers settled here and displaced them, as well as the children and grandchildren of slaves brought here by some of those immigrant forefathers against their will. America is also a nation of laws, and as an elected councilman, I took an oath, a solemn oath of office. Quote, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the state of California from all enemies, foreign and domestic, end quote. Therefore, I am duty-bound to balance the public policy needs, wants, and desires of various civic constituents on matters of great public interest with the requirements of applicable law. When I first ran for office, I made a solemn promise to the voters of Oxnard that the public health, safety, and welfare of all Oxnard residents is my highest priority as your council member. These are some of the flyers that I used when I ran, Spanish and English, and it says that on the flyers. With empathy, understanding, and respect towards all of those who came before the council tonight to express their strongly held views in support of their proposed resolution, at this time I cannot cast a vote in favor of the Sanctuary City resolution, even for symbolic reasons, and here's why. Under existing California law, when Oxnard Police Department officers arrest someone in the city limits as a suspect in a crime, they are held for only a short time by Oxnard Police Department for booking purposes in what are called holding cells. Then the criminal suspect, regardless of their citizenship status, is transferred to by the Oxnard Police Department to county jail. At that point, decisions made regarding the breadth, depth, and nature of sharing vital information concerning the arrested suspect's personal and criminal background, including arrest record, amongst and between local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies, is made by the county sheriff, not the Oxnard Police Department. And the current arrest process protocol would not, again, not change even if the Oxnard City Council passed the resolution that is before us tonight. Further, in a 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, global interconnected world, criminal networks operate with impunity across city, regional, state, national borders, and even continental boundaries. Criminal cartels who coldly and brutally practice heinous crimes such as human trafficking, including the inhuman transport of migrants into this country illegally, child prostitution, and massive transnational criminal money laundering operations of nefarious purposes, do not respect geographic boundaries, let alone well-meaning symbolic resolutions passed by units of local government. Now, if the houses of the California State Legislature pass Senate Bill 54, the so-called, quote, Sanctuary State Bill, end quote, and if Governor Brown chooses to sign such a bill, then the law governing information sharing regarding incarcerated criminal suspects between the state and federal law enforcement agency may change. But unless and until that happens, I see nothing to be gained by the Oxnard City Council passing a, quote, symbolic resolution, end quote, because Oxnard Police Department officers already completely discharge their public safety protection, stewardship, responsibilities with great care, sensitivity, and respect toward all who reside in Oxnard, both citizens and members of immigrant communities. Again, absent changes in both federal and state law governing information sharing protocols amongst local, state, and national law enforcement agencies regarding incarcerated criminal suspects, passage of the proposed, quote, Sanctuary City, end quote, resolution by the Oxnard City Council tonight will not change the way in which information is shared amongst law enforcement agencies regarding criminal suspects, including those arrested in Oxnard, that are incarcerated in the county jail. Finally, when it comes to protecting the public health, safety, and welfare of all of Oxnard residents, regardless of their citizenship status, as one of 5 elected members of the Oxnard City Council, I choose to place my trust in the brave men and women of the Oxnard Police Department. And as is well known, the ranks of the Oxnard Police Department officers include highly trained and experienced public safety professionals of both genders, diverse ethnicities, as well as varied life experience and backgrounds. Further, they are led by a superbly qualified, exceptionally and seasonally well-trained police chief, Scott Whitney, who was, quote, born and bred in our city, unquote. Chief Whitney has repeatedly demonstrated great organizational leadership, personal and professional sensitivity, and public service wisdom by working closely and cooperatively with all Oxnard communities and all Oxnard neighborhoods to ensure the public health, safety, and welfare of all Oxnard residents, paramount to his police officers, and is paramount to his police officers. All of us who are interested in truly improving public safety in the city of Oxnard, including the City Council and the many immigrant communities who live here, and indeed all residents of the city of Oxnard, must continue to work closely with and strongly support Chief Whitney and all the brave men and women of the Oxnard Police Department as they continue to work hard every day to protect our great city and all of the people. That's my statement, Mayor. But I would also like to, if I can, just say this. I appreciate very much Mr. McDonald's efforts with his third choice, but I cannot vote on the third choice unless I had an opportunity to read it. Making decisions for over 207,000 people that live in this city off the fly when we see them the first time there and they are handed to us. And if you take a look at the screen, we even indicate that one of the council members won't even have an opportunity to look at the third choice. I personally think that's not how the citizens of Oxnard expect their government to run.
Citizens.
Excuse me, if you're going to continue to apply, you're breaking the rules. Talk about the rule of law, okay?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Boy, what a clown.
We've had a lot of
Payaso.
good discussion. I've heard
Payaso.
from both sides, and I certainly understand where everybody's coming from. When I undertook this effort with very little notice and tried to work with a lot of people, it was trying to get somewhere to a position where I thought we could get the most consensus. We're never going to have 100%. I don't expect everyone's going to be in love with me over this. I understand that. The one comment I will make is that everybody keeps saying the Sanctuary City resolution. Mine does not say Sanctuary City. It simply refers to Safe City. And I think there's a difference. This is not a get out of jail free card. There's nothing in here that encourages people not to become properly documented to be in this country. I don't have an issue with that. I think it's possible. Now, maybe the federal government needs a little bit of work. We should all be partners on that. I want to point out that on page 2, on the cleaned up version, without all the corrections, section 5 states that communication and cooperation between the Oxnard Police Department and the Department of Homeland Security is appropriate and necessary in the furtherance of legitimate law enforcement purposes, such as in conducting criminal investigations. This includes, but is not limited to, investigations involving serious violent crimes, transnational gangs, organized crime, human trafficking, and other crimes that cross jurisdictions. I haven't found anybody that really has any heartache with that. You know, all the groups I've talked to said, we understand that, we appreciate that. And people that are criminal elements, if they're not here, you know, the way they should be, they need to be removed. And so far, nobody has said protect them, hide them in churches, or do whatever.
If you're here illegally, you're a criminal.
This resolution does not do that. It still allows the police department to do its job. Chief Whitney has said that, and a lot of work went into this, Chief Whitney has said that he can work with this. The community group that I've talked to said they can work with this. I think it's not perfect, but I think it's a very good start, a very good place where we can have communication and move forward. And Councilmember, I apologize, I would have loved to got this to you sooner, but I didn't even finish it till about 1 o'clock this afternoon, and shoot cops off, and I wasn't even sure I was going to make the cut to get on here because it just happened so fast and so furious over the weekend.
Interesting.
So I would have loved to give it out there, but, and unfortunately I can't email it to all the council members because then it becomes a Brown Act issue. So, you know, it's just the problems of government. So I would hope that we would consider the alternative that I've offered. I think it captures the spirit, the essence of the community, the police department, the Community Relations Commission, in our city as a whole, to try and move forward. You know, again, as I said, nothing in life is perfect, but I think several of us are trying to make a very good effort to doing the best we can and getting the mayor likes to use the word consensus. I'm not big on that word, but I'll use it tonight. Trying to get some consensus and move forward. So, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Councilman Maduka.
I want to thank everyone that's here and everyone that expressed their opinion and their viewpoint on this issue. Similar to some of the speakers, I did grow up in an immigrant community. I went to school with, made friends with kids that I had no idea if they were here, if they were undocumented or not. But they always had that fear growing up through elementary school all the way through high school. As a teacher, one of my favorite classes was a class of about 35 students. 7 different countries were represented in that classroom. Some from Latin America, others from Asian countries. The cultural aspect of that class was so great because the kids learned amongst each other and the differences in cultures and customs. I'll always remember that group even though I had them about 3 years ago. And that being the case, I support Councilman McDonald's new resolution on this.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that everybody came out and spoke, even the people that I'm not going to agree with. I do think it's a little ironic that we have a person in the audience dressed as Lady Liberty, which is a tribute to immigrants. I'm just going to quickly read again, and thank you, Ms. Flores-Haro, for saying it. The poem is at the base. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Welcome, immigrants. So, I have spent a career representing immigrants from all over the world. And here in Oxnard, the immigrants are from Latin America, primarily Mexico. They come for many reasons. My own family came here when this was controlled by the Chumash people. And we always say in my family, and we're still speaking Spanish, we didn't cross the border crossed us. And, but we have to respect the work of immigrants in our country, in our city. I'm just going to quote to you something from the Ventura County Farm Bureau. How many field workers are employed on a Ventura County farms? It's believed to be about 36,000 Ventura County farm workers. It varies seasonally, picking during the peak spring and summer harvest of strawberries, lemons, and avocados. Many of you will eat this fruit and vegetable every day. And 91% were born in Mexico. And I would tell you the majority of them are undocumented. So if you don't like undocumented people, please do not eat any fruit or vegetables.
Boo, shame.
Let's live in the real world. The real world is immigrants are making our economy, whether they're lawful or not.
No.
Okay? And no human being is illegal.
Wrong. Wrong.
I'm sorry, if you're going to speak out, you're going to have to leave. You're going to have to leave because I have the floor and you've already had your chance to speak. So, I'm going to have you removed if you continue to speak, whoever you are. Please respect. So you don't always get what you want, but you get what we need, and our community needs this. And I will support Councilman McDonald's proposal for a safe city resolution, and I would entertain a motion at this time.
We haven't read it.
Mayor, I would move that we move the suggested or the offered resolution forward. I would just ask, I missed a couple of OPDs in there during the course of fixing this, if they could change it to Oxnard Police Department. It was a long night last night, I apologize.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your work. Is there a second? So we have a motion, Madam Clerk. We've had discussion. Councilman Pearl, brief, please. Yes.
If this passes, Mayor Pro Tem, and anyone that might think that they're safe because we have passed this, and they venture, hey, let's say Camarillo, or Ventura, or Santa Paula, or Fillmore, are they safer because we passed this in Oxnard?
If I could respond, because I've worked with immigrants, I will tell you our immigrants, people who are lawfully immigrated, people who are working hard who may not have papers, they are realistic. They know what the situation is. And I don't think that you can assume that they don't understand what their reality is. They're already living in fear. They're very careful. So
their fault, not
no,
ours.
there's no guarantee of safety anywhere in this life. And immigrants who risked everything to come here and work, raise their children here, they know what they're facing. That's my opinion. So we have a motion. Madam Clerk, take the roll, please. Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem Ramirez?
Yes.
Councilman McDonald?
Yes.
Councilmember Perlo?
No.
Thank you. We have a resolution.
Boo!
We're going to take a 5-minute break to clear the room. Thank you.
USA! USA!
USA! USA!
Absolutely. Deport! 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 Si se puede what? I didn't realize that this city wasn't safe before, but I'm not sure what they're celebrating. There was no yeah. She was rude. Yeah. I'm not sure what they're celebrating. Could you tell me? No se puede. Si se puede, deport. It's easy to get a lot of people in here when it's labor unions paid with public money. Taxpayer dollars are the only reason they came in. No se pudo. De bueno, exacto. Exacto. Okay. Con permiso. What's your name again?
Victor Moreno.
Wow, Victor, you're from Mexico? Okay, how long did it take you to become a citizen?
It took me like 6 months.
6 months? So it's not that hard.
No, it isn't.
But people are lazy or they just want to undermine. No se pudo, exactamente. What are they celebrating? I don't know. I thought the city was already safe. I mean, the police are doing their job, I thought.
Yeah.
So it's almost like it, but they're not a sanctuary city, so I don't know what they're celebrating.
Next, when they come for re-election, remind me not to vote for them anymore.
I know. Deport them.
Deport them. Especially Carmen Ramirez.
Es una cabrona.
No more voting for her.
Es a cabrona.
Yeah.
Lady Liberty. She's a real hate monger. She has no respect for citizens, I guess. Wow. And for you being here is really important. I know. It's so offensive. I have friends of mine, they work. That guy right there is the Orange Menace right there. So that's the Orange Menace, everybody. That guy's the Orange Menace right there. Hey, Orange Menace. Wave. Hey, Orange Menace.
Are you a veteran?
Hey, Orange Menace. This guy is an Orange Menace right here.
I want to thank you for
Do you think it's okay that he had to work to become a citizen, but you want to dishonor them?
Tell him thanks for supporting our veterans.
Absolutely.
Are you a vet? Absolutely.
Does it matter?
Well, I just want to know, are you a vet?
No, my father is, though. I served. My father served and gave me the right to be here. My father was in the Seabees. Yes.
I was in the Marine Corps. Same thing.
Absolutely. My father's a veteran, and he stands by my right to do it. I don't have to be a veteran to be here. That would be ridiculous. I have to be a veteran in order to support veterans?
No, nobody said that.
That's ridiculous.
I just know you support veterans, and I think that's one good thing you do. And
that's
I try
many
to
good
find the
things.
positives.
And here's something else too. It's like, we have people who came to this country. There you go.
He's a U.S. Marine.
Yeah. When? When did he serve?
There you
He
go.
served like
Watch out.
4 years ago.
Watch out.
He served in
So tell me, what's the difference between being a safe city? Ma'am, you dishonor the thousands, the millions of people who came. No, do not touch me, ma'am. I don't know where you've been. You're a lawless fraud. You are spitting in the face of the millions of people who came to this country legally. Notice how Miss Ramirez has to run away.
I'm Indian. I
and
was here
turn her
before
back.
you, man.
No, you weren't.
Yeah, the hell.
No, you're not. And I've had
you don't
Indian
even
blood
know
in me
you're
too.
an idiot.
You're an idiot. We know you are. Thank you. You're the one who's
You don't have
violent.
any brains, man.
You're violent. You are a disgrace to the city council, Miss Ramirez. You should be ashamed of yourself.
You've been ordered out.
Okay, so
No, you've been asked to leave.
just for exercise, my bag's over there, so I have to be able to have my bag.
We will get your
We're
bag.
in recess right now. Why are you telling me to leave? I'm allowed to confront. Then I'll get out of the way.
Everybody needs to clear the walkway.
Okay, but you're telling me I can't come back?
You need to clear the walkway.
I'm going to clear it right now. I'll get out of the way. Watch me right here.
Thank you.
You do not tell me I have to leave.
I believe.
Thank you very much. Excuse me. No, I don't have to leave. Why am I? No, I'm not disturbing this. There is no quorum, and I'm allowed to speak to her. Thank you. Exactly. There's no city council meeting. Excuse me. Hey, Deborah, come over here really quick. I want to get a picture with you. Okay.
What's going on? Because I don't understand Spanish.
You know
Why
what?
is everybody yelling? What's
I don't
going
know
on?
why. They were claiming, when they were saying si se puede, yes, it can be done. Yes, it can be done.
What then?
I don't know.
I don't either. It's an American.
But here's the thing.
What is she?
Cesar Chavez is the guy who started Si Se Puede.
Yes.
But he hated illegal immigration. He
That
was
is
a
correct.
vocal opponent of it.
That's correct.
Thank you very much. I haven't disturbed the meeting. There's no quorum, so I don't understand. I was allowed to confront her. She's a elected official. I'm allowed to do it. Deborah, where are you? Deborah, really quick. Deborah, really quick. You can record me if you want. Did you know that guy threatened to throw me out just for confronting the mayor pro tem?
I'm sorry?
I went up to Carmen Ramirez and I said to Carmen, you're a disgrace and shame on you.
Yeah.
You're spitting in the face of the millions of people who came to this country legally, who had to follow a very rigorous process, and that man tried to intimidate me.
I don't know. I wasn't there.
Good,
so
that's
I can't
fine, but I got it on
comment
camera here.
I can't
Thank you.
comment.
Okay? Thank you very much. And I still have a public comment because I put in a card for that, so I get to be here. I just need to borrow this because I need to be able to look at something here. Just my own stuff. Mr. Perello, if you have a minute after you're done, I wanted to say thank you. This is an excellent statement. So, thank you. Excuse me. Deborah's a friend of mine. She was the one who told me about this. Thank you.
And one of the things, when and if the city of Oxnard is sued by somebody who claims that they had been promised sanctuary,
Yeah.
it is going to be on Carmen Ramirez's head.
Exactly.
The blood will be on her hands.
Absolutely.
She will be out. She will be voted out of office.
There was a beautiful lady here who spoke about what happened to Catherine Steinle, or that
Yes.
happens to American citizens.
Correct, yep.
I wish. Where is she? I'd like to see her.
I think she already left.
Okay. Okay, let's get a picture. Mine is not working. I'm keeping it live. Can you do it?
I'm in a group of these people.
Okay, I'm with you. What's your name again?
Jack Remington.
Jack. Okay. Go ahead. Do you have a camera? Here, let me do this really quick. If I can, like, there.
Oh, there you go.
That's it. I'll just be able to cut and paste it later. Thank you very much. Oh, this is great. I'm so glad they're actually talking to someone who supports legal immigration, because usually they want to talk to the panderers.
Right.
Yeah.
misma gente que nosotros elegimos para que hagan que nuestras leyes sean respetadas y que la ley siga adelante.
Thank you.
Estas personas que
So Deborah,
That's correct.
this is
She
great.
She doesn't know her history.
She sure doesn't. And I wanted to speak about. Oh, okay.
Here we go.
Is it okay?
entonces,
I'm so proud to be with you guys. I'm so sorry it didn't work out to visit, local elected officials. I'm going to keep it general right now because of our safety. But we'll be able to do that in the future. I don't know why I'm being followed by police officers. That's very strange.
I don't think it's so much strange as it is. They really are. They really are a great group of guys.
Okay,
I know them
I'll take your word for it. You know this area better than I do.
Absolutely do. They're a great group of guys.
Without revealing too much, are you an Oxnard resident or?
I'm not an Oxnard resident. I live about 2 blocks away from the Oxnard line.
Okay.
I live in Port Hueneme, but I'm right over the line. Just as somebody else spoke earlier tonight, that there was a murder committed in Port Hueneme on the line, just about, of an Oxnard resident. So it's everywhere.
And 10 murders? 10 murders.
Remember me?
Yeah, unbelievable.
Jack. Oh, Jack.
So. Councilman, I know it takes a lot with the sentiment here.
I'm not looking to get on TV or something, but I
no,
it takes a lot of guts.
It's a public forum, and I'm just respecting it as a public official. It really bothers me that I think that's the most logical thing you bring up, that this is a bunch of sparsing of words that doesn't mean a lot. But at the same time, it'll actually hurt the city, because all Jeff Sessions has to do is say, wow, Oxnard is a sanctuary city. Yep. Cut the funding. Yep. Nobody wants to talk about that for some reason, though.
Thank you for your comment.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. He's a graduate of
Absolutely. So we had that discussion, right? Injunctions are not forever. Everything goes to the United States Supreme Court because we have a system of federalism. That's in the Constitution as well. Right? Yes, it was. You said about injunctions and that therefore it's okay to prevent funding from being cut. I am talking to you. Then what did you say, and how did I misunderstand?
All I said was that, you ready? All I said was that typically, not every single one, but a majority of injunctions are given and dealt because there's a certain level of certainty that they will hold.
They seem to see you as a threat. There's 2 police officers behind you. That's kind of fascinating. Good. Okay, well, I'm glad there's some comedy.
It's all good.
Good.
They're doing their job.
So, but what about Catherine Steinle? She wasn't protected, was she? What about Ruben Morphine? He wasn't protected.
Can I talk?
And one more. Marcello Bizzarello. The man who killed him was a drunk driving illegal alien, 5 times deported. He wasn't protected. So what do you say to their parents?
I'd say that's unfortunate tragedy.
That's what you say to the parents. Oh, we're so sorry.
I didn't say it. I didn't say I'm so sorry. I said this is a terrible tragedy.
And it could have been avoided if we didn't have sanctuary city policies.
Go ahead.
So really quick, I want you to know the police tried to tell me to leave, and I refused to leave because I'm allowed to be here.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, did you see that? That one guy said, no, you have to leave. You're
I don't understand. I'm American. This is my resident.
I know.
And I don't understand what they're saying.
I thought, English is an important factor, and Jaime Escalante supported it too, and I think we should... But it's not a sanctuary city. They didn't go sanctuary. These guys are in La La Land. Okay, I'm going to wait for the powers that be to show up. So everybody, Oxnard did not go sanctuary city. So that's a victory, and whatever this SAFE Act or SAFE title is nothing. So we had a victory today. They were trying to rush this through for political purposes, and it fell apart. There is just no excuse for the things that happened. They tried to tell me to leave when I confronted Carmen Ramirez, but I refused to leave. Don't be afraid to do it, but make sure you don't go alone. Yes, can I help you? You have a problem with people exercising their rights, sir? Good, then why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? I don't think it's funny when a police officer threatens me to leave. So,
we're going to start bringing order back to the rooms.
Good.
As long as you're willing to work the same as we ask everybody.
And I'd like you...
Make sure you stay here.
As long as you're making that case to everybody else, I'd appreciate it.
I do want to tell you I'm very proud of this community. I understand you're not from here, but...
Doesn't matter if I am or not.
It doesn't, absolutely.
And what's your role again, sir?
We're happy to have you here with us.
Are you a city manager, a city attorney? What are you?
I work with the city, yeah.
No, that's not an answer. What is your title? Look at him, another runner, everybody. This man mocked me for my First Amendment rights. Watch him run. I wonder, what do they pay that guy? Let's see if she actually listens to her too. Unbelievable. You got a rude city staffer over here too. Not used to being talked back to. Great job, George.
Thank you, sir.
Carmen Ramirez, as soon. I've got lots of words I could use.
Do me a favor, send me some comments on the feed for Corporation R article we'll promote it for, okay? Yeah.
Comments on which feed? I'm sorry.
Send me some comments and your feed, and we'll put it on
Citizen
our
Journal?
article.
Okay.
Very good reasoned presentation.
Thank you.
I actually agreed with the first 5 sections of the resolution.
Sure.
They were Fourth Amendment and Fifth Amendment. It's only when they started to depart from that they had a problem. And the fact that they didn't even need this. Whitney's policy does everything.
This is all social justice warrior, virtue signaling.
Exactly.
This is Carmen Ramirez trying to prove to the illegal aliens in the city.
Right, yeah.
And she's disgraceful. I went after her, and I got to share this with you, and I'll make sure I write about this really quick. One of the police officers tried to tell me to leave. You're creating a disturbance. Yeah, because let me see.
Well, it's Aaron the left.
Mr. Butch there.
Right, that's Eric Sunstergaard, assistant police chief.
Oh yeah,
former head of the SWAT team.
Well, he doesn't seem to know the difference between a terrorist and a citizen. Apparently, maybe that's why they want to give amnesty to illegals. They don't seem to understand the difference. Make sure you write. And this guy thinks it's funny that I'm not allowed to speak or something. I don't know. He has noticed he doesn't want to talk to me anymore. Yeah. There we go. Everybody, there's another period for public comment. Unless they try to delay that again, I don't know what will happen. But I'm going to... Vergüenza, Carmen. Vergüenza. You know what that means. That's right, Iwane. She gets the finger. Make sure to share that. And there's Raul there who... Whatever. Okay. We got to pretend like there's order here. Regular order. You guys know. Yeah, I was really upset.
Okay, we're going to get started with public comment.
Yay!
We didn't do public comment, believe it or not. So I will, let's see, how many people do I have? I have a lot, so I'm going to limit everybody to 1 minute.
Of course.
Just so we can get through it. Oh, okay. So I'm going to, as you know, we can't engage with the... Mr. Fisher, do I need to read that whole thing that we usually hear? The legislative body will consider public comments. Do I?
You don't have to.
Okay, well.
As long as you say that you're limiting to 1 minute.
I'm limiting everybody to 1 minute so we can get through our agenda. It's our last meeting, so please be concise.
And this is for public comments on items that are
Items not on the agenda, correct. And if you're not able to address the body at this time, after 30 minutes, you can do it just prior to the adjournment of the meeting.
Of course.
We're not going to engage you in any discussion, but we can refer you to a staff member. So we'll get going here. First one, Aaron Greer, to be followed by Arthur Shopper.
She got it right.
Mr. Greer.
It's the Orange Menace.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council, city staff, and residents. Thank you all for staying tonight. I know it's been a long night. I'll try not to talk too fast. I know I only have a minute. This is regarding the Oxnard recall effort. As you know, I've spoken publicly about this and asked many times for a plan from Mr. Starr and his supporters about how they're going to fix this and what they intend to do that's viable and legal to address our wastewater problem. Haven't got any. I've also asked for transparency from their campaign over who's funding it. I had an encounter with them this weekend in front of one of their petition signings. I found out he doesn't like to be tape recorded, but he doesn't have a choice in a public area, so police chief can clarify that. But I believe they're making claims to get signatures that may not be right, like accusing people of skimming money from the city. Mr. City Attorney, I don't know if that's a crime or not, but that might be something you want to look at to how they're obtaining some of these signatures, because I think there's some misinformation and it's not right, and I think it needs to stop. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
if anybody's listening, skimming money from the city is definitely a crime.
Mr. Shopper.
Yeah, and so is
Followed by Jackie today.
excuse me. And so is disregarding federal law and trying to turn California into a sanctuary state. But I'm proud of being a Torrance resident as well as a proud Trump supporter. My city, Torrance, officially opposes Senate Bill 54, which would not turn California into a sanctuary anything, but would turn it into a further den of thieves beyond what we see in Sacramento. Excuse me, Ms. Ramirez, I looked at you when you were talking. Look at me look at how disrespectful you are. Wow, you are shameful. If this recall effort goes through, please get rid of Ms. Ramirez. She's an arrogant bigot who wants to shame people who just want to see our laws enforced. And I'm not afraid to say this in front. I want my time restored. You do not get to cut me off just because you don't like what you're hearing. Deal with it. Too bad. So here's the deal. I have great regard for those of you who support the blue, who support our laws, who want to ensure that we are all protected. This audience is very rude because they promote someone who promotes illegal immigration. I had the courage to stand up to you, and your assistant police chief could not silence me. They took my time by booing, and you did nothing about it. That calls you out. God bless Mr. Miller. I pray that there'll be 20 of them who torch you after they recall you.
Go back to Torrance.
Thank you.
Please, everybody, let's not engage in that. Thank you very much. Jackie Tedeschi.
Don't engage. We'll recall you.
Vicky Hall.
No, I will not. I'll go anywhere I want to.
Everybody, please.
That's right.
I'm kidding.
Okay, bye-bye. Well, you're a joke anyway.
There you go. Thanks for the compliment from you. It's a compliment. That made my day.
Yeah, you're an Orange Menace. We got it.
Coming from you, I feel good about that.
Well, I know you are.
Thanks for your support of veterans, though. That's awesome.
It's called a diet. I'd strongly encourage you to take one. Thank you. I'm really glad. Sorry I couldn't withhold everybody. She's a bigot and she deserved to be called out for it. God, what a day it was. Not everybody gets booed, but it's worth it. Don't be afraid to call out these corrupt politicians, people. There's nothing wrong with slamming them. There's nothing wrong with shaming them. There's nothing wrong with taking them down a notch. I know some people aren't going to be too thrilled with my approach sometimes. Sometimes you have to be a little uncivil to save civilization. All right, I'm out of here, folks. Bye-bye.